Good morning. As the Prime Minister Andy Burnham sets off on his Great British Listening Tour, is it time that he listened to the pleas of families like PC Andrew Harper's?
Yeah, Labour's early release prison scheme deepens with PC Harper's killers, just some of the thousands of violent criminals that will soon be freed.
While the consequences of the policy are starting to become clear as a new investigation finds that Labour's controversial plans could result in nearly 90,000 more crimes being committed.
Also on today's show, more than 800 illegal immigrants arrived on small boats this past weekend, with the surge in channel crossings heaping yet more pressure on the government.
Ahead of another heatwave this week, the record is broken for the number of days in a year where temperatures exceeded 30 degrees Celsius.
Slightly cooler today compared to yesterday, but temperatures on the rise. And how hot is it actually going to get over the next few days? Tune in later to find out.
Now, could this high-tech solution finally stop the plague of shoplifters on Britain's high streets? Bakery chain Greggs takes matters into its own hands and introduces robo-cops.
And in the sport this morning, Mikel Arteta says, friendly or not, it doesn't really matter because Arsenal have to improve after losing to Dortmund. Manchester City hold firm over World Cup winning captain Rodri. They don't want him to leave. And Keely Hodgkinson says winning the European 800-metre gold medal this week would be as big as winning the Olympics.
Good morning, it's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Mark White. Welcome along to GB News Breakfast.
Quoty has exciting news.
I've got a new dog. Got a new rescue dog. Didn't expect to have it on Friday, and then the next thing, I've now got a rescue dog, Lola, the black Labrador.
Oh, bless.
She's gorgeous.
And bless you for getting a rescue dog.
Absolutely made a point of that. Yeah. She's. See, the thing is, it's one of these. It's going to be lovely to see her grow because there she is. See, she's really thin. You can't really see there, but she's really thin. She was found as a stray, and then she was taken in by a charity called All Dogs Matter. And then we went
Great charity.
They really are. And then we went to see them. And then you know how a dog steals your heart. And she came up, and you're thinking well, everything you've been through, bless you. And then the head, she's coming up, and she said, "We got to have her." So she's now home.
She's
but it makes me so angry. I just can't get in my head how people can treat animals like that. It's just awful.
And neglect animals. Can you imagine neglecting someone as beautiful as that?
See, the thing is with Nellie, who's our rescue beagle, she was mistreated, so she's really nervous and still after 4 years. Whereas Lola there, who by the way took about half a day to try and come up with a name, and she's obviously just been neglected, but just so trusting. You see those eyes.
Can you bring her into work?
Should we bring her in tomorrow?
Please, can you?
And Christo's here as well. His new dog has been gnawing at his legs, I'm told.
Gnawing at absolutely everything, yes. My third dog, we've got 3 rescues now, which is just, obviously, our house is chaos. And, yes, little Dusty Springfield. Well, Dusty Diana...
We were going to call Lola Dusty. I'm glad now that we didn't...
Dusty Springfield Diana Spencer. I noticed yesterday that she's been gnawing on my original 1960s Danish rosewood table and chairs.
Right.
Oh, so not your real legs?
No, my chair legs.
Okay, today.
Oh, yeah, you just wanted an excuse to look at my legs.
Well,
I know your game.
I can see the colour there from here.
But, you know, she just looks up at you and wags her tail with those big trusting eyes, like you said, and they've got rolls on her back, and you just think, well, there's no point in shouting at you. I don't shout at her anyway.
It's a table.
And so that's it, really. So she's stolen our heart as well.
Oh, they do, don't they? This is what they do. But welcome, Lola, to the GB News Breakfast family.
Absolutely, bless her.
Wonderful. OK, moving on now, and the Prime Minister, Andy Burnham, begins his nationwide listening tour today, with many hoping he might find time to hear the pleas of families like PC Andrew Harper's.
Yes, PC Harper's mother, Debbie Adlam, is a vocal critic, as you can imagine, of the early release scheme. And she says the answer to our failing prison system is not releasing dangerous criminals back onto the streets.
Well, an exclusive in the Daily Mail has found that up to 90,000 crimes could be committed as a result of these reoffenders being out on our streets again.
Well, meanwhile, the head of the probation watchdog has warned that a significant number of the prison spaces freed up by the scheme could be filled by reoffenders.
Well, as we gave you a slight tease to earlier, Christo Fupas. Oh, God. I'll just give up on that. Good morning.
Morning. So let's firstly talk, before we talk about those horrific crime figures, potential crime figures, does anyone here know what is a cost of living tour? I mean, it's hardly Oasis back on the road, is it?
He's taken a leaf out of Oasis's book.
What even is this? This just, to me, sums up everything that is wrong with Andy Burnham, because I don't actually think he's any different when it comes to policies than Keir Starmer, other than perhaps he's slightly more left-wing. But it's all style over substance. Everyone knows the problems that we are facing with cost of living, with energy bills, with all of these things. Why does he need to go on a tour?
Government, surely, if the government doesn't know now what it needs to do to make the cost of living that bit more manageable for people, what on earth are they doing?
Exactly. It's things like those green levies and the fact that we could end up with lower energy bills if we actually drilled. Fact that we've got the highest tax burden in history. This is basic stuff that the government already knows, and so why on earth he needs to? But I feel like, and I can feel it in my water, I think genuinely this is election stuff. This is him going out, and he's essentially campaigning for what I believe will be a snap election in the next 6 to 12 months. And what he's doing is he's using all of this time where he's not being scrutinised. There are no parliamentary questions, no Prime Minister's questions, where he can just go out on the road and do PR guff, which is what this is. Because if he wanted to solve the cost of living crisis, well, I'm afraid Westminster, number 10 North, or wherever it happens to be that you're working this week, Mr Burnham, get down to it and solve it.
We also had this poll at the weekend that put Labour ahead of Reform. It's not the first time it's happened. But do you think this can last? Because once that parliamentary scrutiny starts again, well, can the Burnham bounce continue? Well,
he could play it very smart, and this is my fear, is that he could have this summer of non-scrutiny announcements, PR guff that we're getting, then call a snap election after 1 or 2 Prime Minister's questions, then again, no more scrutiny for weeks and weeks, and that Burnham bounce could last. We could end up with Labour, God help us all, for another 4 or 5 years with Burnham's majority. He doesn't need a massive majority. He just needs his own majority to do all of his social care stuff. And if I just don't understand how people can fall for it, but it looks like if those polls are correct, certainly initially they are.
Yeah, I just don't get the early election thing myself.
Why?
Why would you? Because at the end of the day, look, he's got 3 years until an election has to be called. You call it now, you got an 80-odd majority at the moment. Whatever the bounce is, all the polls say that that majority is going to be very, very substantially reduced, even if you go to the polls with that bounce. So what you do, you're going to the polls early to reduce the number of MPs you have at the end of the day anyway. So when you have to go to the next election, it's that bit easier for the opposition to get in.
I get that, but he's never going to be more popular than he is at the moment. Never. He wants the ego of these people. He wants his own legacy. In order to do that, he is going to need his own majority. All this social care stuff that he wants to put through. And I feel it because of the direction of travel of all of these stories. For instance, over the weekend, we had this story, didn't we, that he's going to roll back on net zero and do this, potentially do more of this North Sea drilling. Well, you can look up, it takes 2 seconds on Google to look up the multitude of times where he has spoken about the importance of net zero. And that is, to me, him saying, right, I'm not, when I get re-elected, I can just forget all of this stuff, but the Reform voters I'm going after, care about getting rid of net zero. And so I feel like this is all PR that we're getting at the moment because he wants his own majority. Maybe I'm wrong. You might quite well be right.
Well, I only just think that, you know, you've got 3 years out. I think, just for me anyway, just as likely a scenario is you say, right, we're going to get an uptick in the economy. Things are going to start to resettle after the likes of the crisis in the Middle East over Iran. Things, prices will come down. People will start feeling a bit better about themselves. There's a huge temptation for a government just to sit it out as well.
But how is he going to pay for all of the giveaways that he's come up with and all of these you know, whether it be social care, whether it be everything else? Well, potentially borrowing more, but we've got the highest borrowing on record. We've paid the highest interest on record on our borrowing as well. Have we got time for a quick note on this?
Well, I was just about to say to you, actually, so in terms of this listening tour, do you think he's going to listen to the victims of the early release scheme?
Well, I mean, the very simple thing that he could do is deport all the foreign criminals in our jails, because what the Mail is saying today is that they've done some analysis about the number of people who will be released from prison who are likely to reoffend, and they've come up with the number of 89,000 more crimes. And, of course, 2 of the offenders who are likely to be released, and I read a piece this morning saying, look, it's very unlikely he's going to be able to block this without blocking everyone being released, are the absolutely repellent killers of PC Andrew Harper. Now, the problem is, even if he legislates and says, right, we are going to not release anyone that has committed, that has murdered a blue light worker, an emergency worker, there isn't a law that he can bring in, I don't think, that quickly about manslaughter, which is what they were convicted of, against an emergency worker. So he might not be able to stop that unless he scraps the whole thing. But 89,000 more crimes.
At least.
For all of us. At least.
These are recidivists, repeat offenders that are being released back out into society. People with drug habits often. They are the ones who cause the most destruction in local neighbourhoods, that nick your car, that break into your house, that you rob your local corner store, that steal your mobile phones.
I've got a few of the numbers for you. 500 added sex offences, 1,800 violent crimes, 36,000 thefts before the end of the Parliament in 2029. 1,500 crimes for possessing a weapon, more than 7,000 drug-related offences, 3,000 public order offences being recorded. Again, that's by the end of the Parliament. For an election sooner, you won't see any of the effects of that.
And it's not free, is it? Cost of crime is huge on society, not only in terms of victims, but putting them back away again.
Exactly, and just the morale of the general public, who are being hammered by taxes, who are doing the right thing, who are going out, trying to work hard, and then if they're not being taxed to oblivion, and if they're not seeing the taxes they do pay spent on absolute nonsense or people who are not doing the right thing, you also end up being a victim of crime. And the police are more likely to come and arrest you if you misgender someone than actually if your house gets robbed.
OK, Christoph Ufas, always a pleasure.
I don't know whether we feel in a very good mood after any of that, though.
I am always in a good mood when I hear from you.
Oh, bless you.
Thanks, Chris. Thank you. Well, we should say that Ministry of Justice spokesperson has said that protecting the public will always be our top priority. This is why this government is taking decisive action to fix the prison crisis it inherited, while investing record sums to support victims.
OK, another story to set your pulses racing, I'm afraid. The crisis in the Channel continues as roughly 800 migrants made the journey to Britain this past weekend.
Yes, days of calmer conditions in the Channel afforded people smugglers a clear opportunity to launch boats from France.
Well, here to tell us more is the former Independent Chief Inspector of Borders and Immigration, John Vine. Good morning, John. Always great to get your insight here. I mean, this past weekend, it just shows, we always talk about this, but it's worth repeating. It's every time the wind dies down enough, the boats cross the Channel. They might be coming from much further down the coast, but the inevitable launches take place nonetheless.
Yes, well, here we are again talking about this. It seems a regular slot on your programme. I mean, here we are, that we've got 800 people. That's nearly 3 times, the total amount that crossed the channel in 2018 when it all started. So we've got like 3,000 of the annual total in 2018 in one weekend. So, far from the business model of organised crime being smashed, we've still got a tremendous breach of border security that the government really has to deal with. And it shouldn't be relying on the weather. It should be, that's always going to be a factor. But at the end of the day, they should be intercepting these boats before they set off from France. So where is the effectiveness of the new arrangements with France? That's the sort of question we need to have answered. What's working well and what isn't working so well?
John, what did we see over the weekend? Was it mega dinghies again? There has been a concerning trend that we've been witnessing over the past few weeks and months, which is making the journey even more dangerous.
Yes, that's right. And the organised crime are putting people in large numbers of people in dinghies, which mean that the risk to the lives of people getting in them are increased. They're travelling much further, from where they originally started, further up the coast into Belgium and down the coast, further down into France, and that trend continues. There was also, what we should also remember as well is that, of course, this is in addition to other forms of illegal entry, which is still taking place. I think Sky News only a couple of days ago produced a report about, the people being brought in by people smugglers to deal drugs in the UK. And so, there's still a thriving trade in bringing people in through the Channel Tunnel, in the backs of cars and in the backs of lorries.
I think that's undoubtedly happening. Certainly the Albanians brought many thousands over to man their cannabis farms and take part in criminality. John, we just want to show an image which I think will infuriate many people, understandably. It is just an awful image that shows a very young baby here being brought on one of these boats. An adult doing that, I would lock them up and throw away the key. This defenceless child brought on to a migrant dinghy, and of course you get the defenders of this kind of action saying, "Oh well, they're fleeing their own countries with all the disruption and just how unsafe that particular country is." But, France and multiple other European countries that they've travelled through are not countries that are third world countries where it's unsafe to live. I mean, this is just reckless, beyond reckless.
Yes, it is. And I think what also makes my blood boil is when I see police officers standing by and watching these scenes from the shore. I mean, obviously somebody's filmed this, and people should be going in and stopping this from happening, because in effect you're standing by and watching people putting the lives of young children at risk. So, where are those teams of French police officers who are supposedly trained to intervene with taxi boats and prevent them from, leaving the French shores? They should be intervening, if not just to save people's lives and the lives of young children, which are obviously being put at risk.
Life jacket on this baby either, or any flotation device to be seen. John, thank you. Always good to see you. Always good to get your analysis. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Well, let's have a look at some of the other stories coming into the GB newsroom.
And the Education Secretary, Lucy Powell, is promising to revolutionise vocational routes for teenagers. It's after it was revealed that some 50,000 youngsters will miss out on exam results this week. Lucy Powell says she wants to tackle the NEETs crisis, which refers to young people who are not in education, employment or training.
Thousands of jobs are set to be supported by a new £65 million government boost in Britain's electric car industry. Industry leaders will match the funding, with ministers hoping the money will protect skilled jobs.
And fewer than 1 in 5 women in England took folic acid before becoming pregnant last year, with experts warning that the figure is falling. New research shows uptake has dropped from over 26% in 2021 to just 19% now. Folic acid can help prevent serious birth defects, with researchers calling for better advice to ensure that women planning a pregnancy know its benefits.
Well, time for the Great British Giveaway now. And you have just a couple of weeks left, we're told, to get your hands on £60,000 and indeed a solid gold bar.
Here are all the details you need.
Welcome to Orlis Santi by Domes Resorts. I'm in one of their beautiful sea view rooms. Luxurious, right? And there's just 2 weeks left to see how you too could be enjoying the 5-star lifestyle. There's over £65,000 in cash and gold to be won. First, you can bank an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. That's cash you could save, spend the rest of the year spending, or just relax somewhere like here, the award-winning Soma Spa. We'll also give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000. Just make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 21st of August.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Bowl.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Now, how do you like the hot weather?
I like it probably mid-20s.
Yeah, balmy.
Anything above that, and I just can't sleep at night.
I'm probably with you on that one. I do like the sunshine, though. It's good for the soul.
If we had air conditioning, different story. I'd be delighted.
Yeah, if we had the infrastructure, then maybe it would be a different story. Well, here's news for you. Temperatures could hit 37 degrees Celsius again this week, threatening railways and power networks.
Yeah, yellow heat health alerts are in place across most of England until Tuesday. But how will it impact travel across the country?
Well, let's speak now to friend of the programme and travel correspondent at The Telegraph, Simon Calder, who, as always, has all of the answers for us. How's it going to look this week, Simon? Travel chaos, I'm sure.
Well, I very much hope not, but unfortunately, we've got used to this fifth heat wave of the summer. And so the main impacts are going to be felt very much on the rail passenger, because that's generally what happens. Here's the situation. The British Railway network was never designed for temperatures above about 35 Celsius. And so once the temperature rises above that, and you're talking about 37, some saying it could get even higher, then several things happen which are not great. First of all, there's more possibility that the steel rails could actually buckle. That is intensified if you have a large number of trains passing at high speed over them. And so what they do is they put in speed restrictions. There's also the problem with overhead wires sagging in the heat. These are the, of course, the electric lines that help so many of our trains run speedily. So that's a problem too. And then you've got line side fires, which are more prone to break out. And we even last week had a runway side fire. This was just closed the southern runway at London Heathrow Airport. It was only for an hour, but as a result of that, there were a large number of diversions, very heavy delays, and then dozens of cancellations. And so if you've got a completely overstretched system of transport with an overstretched rail network, overstretched airports, then I'm afraid any disruption in the form of unusually high temperatures is not going to work out well for the long-suffering traveller.
On travel-related matter, the security side of things, we know that for the past 20 years, ever since the liquid bomb plot, we've had restrictions on our liquids. That's being lifted now. That would be understandably welcomed by so many.
Well, OK, it's slightly more complicated than that, as these things often are. Now, I dare say, Mark, you were, you're just about old enough to remember when these things happened. I was at Jersey Airport flying to Gatwick on the morning of the 10th of August, 2006, and it was very dramatic. Suddenly, all cabin baggage was banned. This was because a plot had been uncovered in which drinks were going to be smuggled on board, or soft drink containers containing explosives. They would be mixed on board into explosive devices, which would then destroy a whole series of transatlantic aircraft. An absolutely appalling prospect. And so the security services, we suddenly woke up and they said, right, no cabin baggage, because that's the only way we can protect. And as a result, the entire system melted down because it wasn't designed to take all that cabin baggage. And people were even having things like pens confiscated. You couldn't take that into an aircraft cabin because it's got a liquid in it. Anyway, within about 3 months, we got finally onto the very long-running liquids rules, 100 millilitres containers in a clear plastic resealable bag. And that has been with us for the past 20 years, even though we were promised in 2019 by none other than then Prime Minister Boris Johnson. It would all be over by the summer of 2022, thanks to these fantastic new pieces of kit that allow us to keep all the liquids in the bag and laptops and so on. And really, there's no need to have any liquid floor. That was then postponed to 2 summers ago. That didn't happen. Some airports were ready all the way from Aberdeen to Teesside to London City. And for a few days, it was marvellous. But then the government rode back on it again and said, actually, we're a bit concerned about the accuracy of these machines. And we're now in this slightly strange position where you're flying from a UK airport. If it's one of the Belfast airports, if it's Birmingham, Bristol, Edinburgh, Gatwick, Heathrow or Southend, then you can just pack all you want to in your bag and it will go through. If you are here at Luton and most other airports, then the rule is still 100 millilitres liquids, but you can pack them basically into your existing bag. You don't need to take them out. And if you're in Inverness, if you're in Norwich, if you're in Prestwick, or if you're in Exeter, then I'm afraid you're back with the old 100 millilitres in a plastic bag. It's a really confusing situation. And of course, bear in mind that whatever the rules are going out from the UK, coming back, you have to assume it's going to be this. Otherwise, you could have that very nice bottle of something exotic and strong confiscated.
Yeah, I've fallen victim to that a few times recently, Simon. Thank you very much. It's a very confusing picture. Thank you for making sense of it, as always.
Yeah, beyond frustrating.
Very frustrating, yes. I had a very nice skincare taken off me recently. I'm a little bit bitter about it.
Well, I can imagine, yes.
Wow.
No, going out, this is the thing. You know, some of the airlines are allowing you liquids going out, but yeah, when I flew back from Turkey a few weeks back,
different rules.
Ended up getting liquids confiscated.
There you go. That's our public service announcement this morning. Be careful.
OK, time now for your weather update. That heat wave that we've been warning about. Here are all the details you need to know.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, and this is your latest GB News forecast from the Met Office. So Monday promises to be a slightly cooler day than Sunday. Dry for most, but plenty of sunshine. There is a little bit in the way of clouds, certainly across the south during the course of this morning. This is actually the legacy of a cold front which sunk south across the whole country during the course of the weekend. But some of the cloud on this front will be thick enough to produce a little bit of light rain and drizzle here and there, but more of a nuisance value. Most places staying dry. But with clear, bright sunshine, temperatures into the afternoon reaching into the high 20s, highs of 27 degrees for London. It's a slightly different story further north with a fair amount of cloud across parts of Scotland. And that will certainly actually help to keep a lid on the temperatures into the afternoon. By the time we get to the evening, we're looking at temperatures into the high teens. But there are some brighter skies in the mix too. Cloudier skies across parts of Northern Ireland. And again, temperatures not too far off the seasonal average. But across England and Wales, with bright, clear sunshine on offer into the evening, temperatures comfortably into the mid-20s. And with clear skies overnight, we are likely to see a few mist and fog patches forming across England and Wales. Cloud does persist across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. And overnight temperatures in Scotland will actually dip low enough, certainly some rural spots, for a touch of grass frost, but staying rather warm across the south with overnight lows in the mid-teens. But it's a bright and sunny start Tuesday morning. And if anything, the cloud across northern parts of the country will gradually lift and brighten up, so turning bright and sunny even here too, and across parts of Northern Ireland. But it's a warm day, another warm day, especially across England and Wales, with highs of 27 or 28 degrees across parts of the south. And these higher temperatures will actually push further north through the day. That's your forecast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, do stay with us till it's come. Paul's going to be here with all your sports.
Question is, will the Ballon d'Or winning, World Cup winning Manchester City captain Rodri be at Manchester City next season? Unlikely, but we'll find out more in a second.
Good stuff.
But first, here's your travel and traffic update.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M27 westbound is closed between junctions 10 and 9 at Whiteley. The M20 eastbound has an obstruction between junctions 3 and 4 at Maidstone West. The M54 is closed between junctions 2 and 3 in Wolverhampton. The M42 is closed between junctions 6 and 5 in Solihull East. The A42 is closed after the A511 in Ashby. In Scotland, the A78 is closed in both directions between Dunlop Street and A8 Ratho Street in Edinburgh. And on the trains, East Midlands railway services are reduced, and the Elizabeth line has a reduced service to and from Heathrow terminals. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, time now to go through all the latest sports with our top broadcaster, Paul Coyne.
Oh, yeah.
We do have some professional football going on, some competitive football going on, which is in Scotland. So a little bit of that. Celtic beat Kilmarnock. Thumping away win for Celtic. Beat Kilmarnock 5-1. And Martin O'Neill, we wish him well, convalescing at home after his little procedure. So he'll hopefully be back on the touchline very soon. New Rangers manager Derek McInnes, he's having a bit of a nightmare, to be honest with you. 3 games, no wins. 5 goals conceded, lost to Hibs 2-1 at Ibrox, and after Hearts spanking in Europe, they did better and they spanked Dundee United 4-0 yesterday. So a little bit of Scottish football. Got a little transfer news, because transfers are starting building up now as we head towards the Premier League season, which is only a couple of weeks away. Rodri. Now, I mentioned Rodri, World Cup winning captain, Manchester City, of course, won the Ballon d'Or a few years ago, had a bit of time out injured, but it looks like he's going to go. So Barcelona, Real Madrid are interested, Barcelona are interested. They rejected now, Manchester City rejected, I mean, it's only 38 million. I mean, we could buy him for that, couldn't we? To play in our GB News team.
Well, didn't Arsenal pay 75 million for a Newcastle player?
That's right, Gamara, yeah. 38 million is not a lot. Cough up, chicken. Final year of the contract that he's got at Manchester City, and Man City aren't interested unless it reaches around 68, 70 million. So this is what manager Enzo Maresca, it's still strange to say, Manchester City manager Enzo Maresca.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get used to it. But he didn't say too much, but this is what he did say.
Yes, at the moment he will be in Manchester on Wednesday. There is not any update.
Oh, what happened there?
That's it.
Oh.
He didn't have much to say.
Oh.
You know, I did warn that he didn't have much to say, but he had hardly nothing to say about the whole thing. But anyway, he's going back to Manchester this week, so that will be resolved, certainly. How about this swap deal? Everton and Crystal Palace, Dwight McNeil and Brennan Johnson. This is not a matter of money going anywhere. This is actually a straight swap between players. McNeil was going to go to Palace at the end of the on deadline day in January. That was aborted, and his agent said that his mental health was affected by the fact that he never got to go, but now it looks like he will. Brennan Johnson signed from Spurs, hasn't scored in 26 games for Crystal Palace, so it hasn't gone so well for him. Luca Digne, there's another one. Aston Villa left-back signed for PSG in France, 3-year deal. He's 33. I mean, it's not a bad deal, is it, to go to the European Champions? 33, 3-year deal. There he is. He's playing for Aston Villa, so he's now left and playing for Paris Saint-Germain. And a bit about Harry Kane. I was still hoping that he would say, you know what, Bayern, it's time for me to go back to Tottenham Hotspur, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. New contract expected till 2029. Probably up his 21 million quid a year, 61 goals in 51 games, and he is odds-on favourite for the Ballon d'Or this year. And I hope he gets it, of course.
Of course.
Keely?
Time for athletics?
Yeah, Keely Hodgkinson. Yes, European Championships this week. And Keely Hodgkinson, our friend Keely,
who we love.
We do love. She was beaten by the Swiss athlete Audrey Werro. It's really bizarre how Werro from Switzerland appeared from nowhere and now seems to be, where actually is the third fastest 800-metre runner in the world of all time. And Keely wanted to go out and break the world record. So this is going to be a real hell of a race between the two of them. Keely saying this means probably as much as the Olympics, so she needs to come back and beat Audrey. But that's not until the end of next week. But the European Athletics Championships happens this week. And one more, and this is probably the most important thing.
Oh, yes.
And this is tiny legs, big personalities and competitive streak. And I'm not talking about you, Mark.
No.
I'm talking about corgis.
I love corgis.
Corgi racing. Yola, you know it's a slow sport day, but you know what? I would have done this anyway, whatever had happened. Even if it was the World Cup, I would have shown this. Let's have a look at it. YOLO County Fair in California. Forget greyhound racing. It's Corgi racing is the future. It's the Corgi National Race Series. 40 dogs. Are we going to see them run, or are they just going to... There we go. And they're... No, they're not out of the box yet.
They're still there.
For goodness sake. Here we go. And they're off. There we are, 40 veteran winner. There's a little bit of...
They're more interested in chasing each other.
There's a little bit of like nudgery, a little jiggery-pokery between the two of them, and there we are. You can't even see how quick they were, but the winner was a veteran corgi called Tony. The late Queen would be very proud.
She would be very proud.
Look at these two. They're having a bit of a argy-bargy between the two of them.
Yeah.
She could have been a real name in that sport, like she was in horse
racing, didn't she? If only. There we are, corgi racing.
She'd love that, wouldn't she?
The future of dog racing in the world.
Thanks, Coity.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Paul.
Now, do you still with us still to come? Guess which degrees are the worst for getting a job? We're going to get into that and much more in the papers with Dawn Neeson and Chris Akabusi. That's up next.
But first, here's the forecast for some of your top European destinations.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries, all sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there. A lot of high pressure dominates much of southern Europe, with a lot of sunshine and some thunderstorms in the mix too. Those thunderstorms, particularly across parts of Turkey and Greece, where we're seeing temperatures into the mid-30s. Further west across Italy, temperatures into the high 30s and low 40s. And very hot across parts of Spain as well. But a little bit more on the way cloud and slightly fresher conditions across the Canary Islands. Staying settled and hot throughout next week, temperatures peaking later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Well, Charlie, as most of the viewers know, I would be involved in agriculture. This isn't quite agriculture. It's quite close to it, the cousins of. A lot of things that go on in agriculture are on display here. Thousands of people coming to this site, Ragley Hall, just about 45 minutes out of Birmingham.
We are the modern ruralists, and here today we have the craft yard. We've got 9 different crafts, all demonstrating what they're up to. Here we have the wheelwrights, and they're bonding a wheel here. So this is an ancient craft that's been going for about. Barney Murray's a bit of a legend, quite frankly. He's the national champion, master dry stone waller, comes from North Wales, and he's a bit of a Thor lookalike, so he's quite popular.
GB News, the People's Channel. GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Now, at 16 minutes past 8, the annual bike ride from Yorkshire to London is taking place today, aiming to honour the legacy of the Batley and Spen Labour MP Jo Cox, who was murdered by a far-right terrorist in June of 2016.
Well, the bike ride aims to champion a cause she was passionate about, as this year marks the 10th anniversary of her tragic death.
Kim, if we can just start with you, what is your sister's legacy?
Well, there's so much that we've got to be proud of that's been done in Jo's name. It's just been 10 years since she was murdered, and what has kept us going as a family has been the way that so many amazing people, including people like this amazing man, have done things in Jo's name to show what our country is really about. And you've got all these amazing people today from all different backgrounds, all walks of life, celebrating the things that we have in common, not agreeing on everything.
GB News, the People's Channel. Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
It's a difficult question. Honestly, I don't think I would at this rate, because I think the government tracks, when we say we're fighting for Britain, what are we actually fighting for? The concept of Britain, I don't think exists anymore. When I look at Britain, when I go outside, it doesn't seem to be very British. And I think the core demographic of the people who would normally fight, these white working class boys who, you know, have been fighting for Britain, who we expect just to sacrifice their life in a fight, you know, they've been demonised for decades and decades by the government, by our education system, by the media. Economically, they've been disadvantaged. So why would we expect them to risk their lives when we've demonised them for so long and took them for granted for so long? And this concept of Britain fighting for the British government, you know, the British government has betrayed us.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Just a bit of breaking news for you on the small boat situation. An update in the figures coming from our producer down in Kent that tells us now 950, around that figure, is the total number of illegal immigrants who crossed the English Channel over this past weekend. So just shy, effectively, of 1,000 crossing in a single weekend. That tells you all you need to know about the depth of this crisis. The government likes to tell us the numbers are down, which they are compared to last year, but it only takes a couple of good days and you can see the figures just shooting right up again. So just confirming that figure of around 950 small boat migrants, illegal immigrants, that crossed from France over this past weekend.
And you're going to stay across that for us, aren't you, Mark? So thank you. Let's have a look at the papers, shall we? Chris Akabusi and Dawn Neeson this morning. Morning, you two.
Morning.
Loads to get through here today. Dawn, let's have a look, shall we, at Andy Burnham struggling to convince one of his closest friends and allies to actually join his government.
Yeah, it's an interesting day for the front pages of the newspaper because they're all completely different, which means no one could decide what the main story was. But the Times has gone on one that obviously appeals to its readers about the wealth tax. Now, the Prime Minister, currently Andy Burnham, has tried to get two of his mates on board, Lord O'Neill of Gately and Andy Haldane. They're both very important businessmen and economists, so they understand what they're talking about now. Now, he wants them on board as advisors, but they are both getting cold feet about it because of the wealth tax, the potential wealth tax that are coming in October. Now, a wealth tax basically means a tax on total net worth rather than what you actually earn. Historically, they've never worked. I mean, out of all the countries that start them, they end up cancelling. Even the French got rid of it eventually. So they don't work because they're very high. They're very high maintenance. It's difficult to assess what is wealthy and what isn't. And most people who are that wealthy employ very good accountants, get round it, and then leave the country. So it stops investment, doesn't raise as much money. So both of these people, very good businessmen, are saying, well, yeah, we'll give you advice, but we don't want to actually get that involved. Because if you are going to do a wealth tax, we can't support it. And I think most people in the country would agree with them because we need people to come in and invest in this country, and a wealth tax will just stop that happening.
Yeah, my understanding is that both these chaps have worked with Andy Burnham over the last couple of years anyway. But it is refreshing that they recognise also with their own particular portfolios that that might be impacted, so they'd have to put it into allow other people to run their portfolios. So they want to get on and run their business because they're business people, in effect.
Chris, you've also been looking at a story in the Mail about the courses that are most likely to put you behind the curve when it comes to getting a job afterwards.
Yeah, this is a very important week for many young people up and down the country. On Thursday, August 13th, my young man, along with many other young men and women, will be looking for the A-level results. And when they get their results, many of them have been offered places, but some people either haven't been offered places or were too late to get involved with the places, and there's something called clearing. And in clearing, universities can match applicants with particular places. Alongside those are people who have not been very successful at university, or university not done very well, and they will be in that clearing process. And there's a couple, creative arts and businesses, a couple of schools in London, where their graduates are getting CDs and E's, and then will be placed into these clearings. So it's a very difficult one because, I mean, I know that we were encouraged very much in the Blair years for everyone to go into university. Not quite sure if that's worked. A lot of people got to university that the degrees are worthless for them when they come back to work. They might have a $50,000 debt, and which they've got to pay off, and nobody wants to employ them. Look, some of the, like the creative arts and things. If you do manage to get in, it's a $24,000 a year job. How do you pay off your debt? Blah 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 blah. So it's an interesting time, but my interest really was that these people will be competing for places with young people who have just done their A-levels.
I mean, the message to kids should be that degrees aren't the be-all and end-all. It's really something. I mean, when I was running newspapers, the last person I would employ with anyone with a media degree, media studies, I didn't even understand what it was. It seemed to mean they just spent a lot of time watching TV rather than learning how to be journalists. Learn on the job. There's nothing wrong with it, kids.
There was a while, wasn't there, when there was something called David Beckham studies. I mean, that was one of the major careers.
I mean, you can study mad stuff, and all you do is end up with $50,000 of debt and potentially no job at the end of it.
Dawn, let's have a look at this one in the Times, being totally different this morning. Cutting exercise by just minutes drives up the risk of cancer.
Yeah, I'm sorry if you're sitting on your sofas having your breakfast. This is not going to cheer you up, this story. This is our research from, where's it from? It's published in the BMC Medical Journal, and it's found that people have been active throughout their life. And we're not talking athletes like Chris. We are talking just, walking around, doing a bit of light training, etc. etc., etc. Found that people throughout their lives should do all they can to maintain that level of exercise, even as they're getting older, because even dropping it by a few minutes can actually drive up the risk of cancer. I mean, sort of like swapping 30 minutes of movement for 30 minutes of sedentary behaviour increased risk by 8%. So basically, just going for a walk for half an hour, if you stop doing that when you get older and sitting watching telly is good most of the time, by the way, and we're on the radio. But, I mean, you can actually increase your risk of cancer just by stopping half an hour of exercise. And we're talking gentle, we're talking going for a walk, carrying bags, etc.
Yeah. Chris, important to stay active, isn't it?
Oh, 100%, yeah. And it's... I mean, OK, I was an Olympian, so maybe I've got to be careful here, but it's not very much, you know. The NHS guidelines say adults should aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intense activity or 75 minutes over a week.
And you do something every day, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you both do. You're both very active. Dawn, Chris, thank you very much indeed. Do stay with us. We've got Zia Yusuf talking to us at 7:30. We're also talking about Greggs and how they're going to stop shoplifters. All of that coming up after your weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, and this is your latest GB News forecast from the Met Office. So Monday promises to be a slightly cooler day than Sunday. Dry for most, but plenty of sunshine. There is a little bit in the way of clouds, certainly across the south during the course of this morning. This is actually the legacy of a cold front which sunk south across the whole country during the course of the weekend. But some of the cloud on this front will be thick enough to produce a little bit of light rain and drizzle here and there, but more of a nuisance value. Most places staying dry. But with clear, bright sunshine, temperatures into the afternoon reaching into the high 20s, highs of 27 degrees for London. It's a slightly different story further north with a fair amount of cloud across parts of Scotland. And that will certainly actually help to keep a lid on the temperatures into the afternoon. By the time we get to the evening, we're looking at temperatures into the high teens. But there are some brighter skies in the mix too. Cloudier skies across parts of Northern Ireland. And again, temperatures not too far off the seasonal average. But across England and Wales, with bright, clear sunshine on offer into the evening, temperatures comfortably into the mid-20s. And with clear skies overnight, we are likely to see a few mist and fog patches forming across England and Wales. Cloud does persist across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. And overnight temperatures in Scotland will actually dip low enough, certainly some rural spots, for a touch of grass frost, but staying rather warm across the south with overnight lows in the mid-teens. But it's a bright and sunny start Tuesday morning. And if anything, the cloud across northern parts of the country will gradually lift and brighten up, so turning bright and sunny even here too, and across parts of Northern Ireland. But it's a warm day, another warm day, especially across England and Wales, with highs of 27 or 28 degrees across parts of the south. And these higher temperatures will actually push further north through the day. That's your forecast.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M27 westbound is closed between junctions 7 and 5 near Southampton Airport after an HGV fire. The M20 westbound has a stranded vehicle between junctions 5 and 4 near West Malling. The M54 is closed between junctions 2 and 3 in Wolverhampton. In Scotland, the A78 between Dunlop Street and A8 Ratho Street is closed in both directions in Glasgow. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway services are running a reduced service, and the Elizabeth line has a reduced service to and from Heathrow terminals. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Welcome to Orla Santi by Domes Resorts, and there's just 2 weeks left to see how you too could be enjoying the 5-star lifestyle. First, you can bank an incredible £60,000. We'll also give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good morning. As the Prime Minister Andy Burnham prepares to set off on his Great British Listening Tour, is it time that he listened to the pleas of families like PC Andrew Harper's?
Yes, Labour's early prison release scandal deepens with PC Harper's killers just some of the thousands of violent criminals that will soon be freed.
Well, the consequences of the policy are starting to become clear as a new investigation finds that Labour's controversial plans could result in nearly 90,000 more crimes being committed.
Breaking news this hour, more than 950 illegal immigrants arrived on small boats this past weekend, with the surge in channel crossings heaping yet more pressure on the government.
Ahead of another heatwave this week, the record is broken for the number of days in a year where temperatures go above 30 degrees Celsius.
Slightly cooler today compared to yesterday, but temperatures on the rise. And how hot is it actually going to get over the next few days? Tune in later to find out.
Now, could this high-tech solution finally stop the plague of shoplifters on Britain's high streets? Bakery chain Greggs takes matters into its own hands with the introduction of robo-cops.
Is it time to ban balaclavas in public? Well, Nottingham City Council is planning to do just that to make their city feel safer. We're asking, should the whole country follow suit? We're going to be debating that later on this morning.
And sport this morning, where Mikel Arteta says, friendly or not, Arsenal must improve after losing to Dortmund. Manchester City hold firm over World Cup winning captain Rodri, although he could be going this week. And Keely Hodgkinson says winning the European 800-metre gold medal this week could be as big for her as winning the Olympics.
It's just gone 7 o'clock. Good morning to you. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Mark White. This is GB News Breakfast.
Well, let's get straight into the politics, shall we, this hour, because Prime Minister Andy Burnham is preparing for his nationwide listening tour, with many hoping that he might find the time to listen to the concerns of families like PC Andrew Harper's.
Yes, PC Harper's mother, Debbie Adlam, a vocal critic of the early release scheme, says the answer to our failing prison system is not releasing dangerous criminals back onto the streets.
Well, an exclusive Daily Mail investigation this morning has revealed that criminals released under the scheme could go on to commit 90,000 additional offences.
Well, we're joined now by Liberal Democrat MP for Shropshire, Helen Morgan. Helen, good morning to you. Thanks for joining us. On this issue of the early release of prisoners, I'm just not sure this is where the country is at. They don't want to see prisoners released, and certainly not released early. Shouldn't we just be building even more pop-up prisons?
Well, I think everybody's very concerned about the early release scheme, particularly where there are people who might have been domestic abusers. We've heard about the killers of PC Harper. I think people are very concerned about those prisoners being released early. But the reality is we haven't built any new prisons for many, many years, and spaces need to be protected so that the rest of the system can function. I'd like to see the government protect some of those types of crimes, those types of criminals from being released into the community, because they're clearly dangerous. But we need to get on, as you say, and provide the prison spaces so that we don't have to face this early release problem.
Seems an easy and cheap solution, though. Just turfing them back out onto the street. Surely, I mean, they could, as a matter of urgency, the same way they did during COVID, build these Nightingale prisons, pop-up prisons. They talk about the lack of security, but you can put female offenders in there, lower-level offenders in there, and ensure that the medium to high-risk offenders are still in normal prisons. Surely that's a better way forward.
I think there are all sorts of different solutions, but we need to be clear that the most dangerous offenders, as I say, particularly domestic abusers, the killers of police officers in this particular case, they need to be prevented from being released under the early release scheme. Clearly there are lower level offenders where it's less of a problem, but those most dangerous offenders, it's really concerning that they're being released.
We are hearing that the Prime Minister is preparing for this so-called listening tour, which starts tomorrow. Is this a good use of the new Prime Minister's time? And do you think this sounds like a pre-election tour to you?
Well, I think listening to people is always a good thing to do. My concern with this government is that they're only listening to certain types of people. They're not coming to rural areas, for example, and understanding our issues, and have taken a decision to really put all their eggs in one mayoral basket and ignore places that don't have a mayor in place. So I hope that Andy Burnham is going to come and listen to people that don't fit into that structure. And I also hope he's going to listen to actually what really matters to people, which is around their energy bills, coping with the cost of living crisis, and around the performance of the NHS, which is obviously the area that I'm most interested in.
But can I just say that this is performative, isn't it? At the end of the day, surely the government knows what it can do to help relieve the cost of sort of living crisis for people up and down the country. You don't have to go on this tour to meet people who are carefully chosen for you.
I would broadly agree with you. I think that it's very obvious what we need to do with the cost of living crisis. We need to look at energy bills and look at how we can discount people's kind of standard uses on their energy bills. That's the one big number that's really hurting people's pockets. So I broadly agree with you. I think we've put forward some good ideas to help people with the cost of living. They don't involve, as you say, a large trip around the country. But listening to people is important. You know, staying in Westminster and listening to each other is a problem. Every single MP should be out there listening to their residents in their community and feeding that back to the Prime Minister, in my view.
Helen Morgan, you're here today to talk to us about Andy Burnham, and you're urging him to stop this bonfire of patient safety, as you describe it, in order to prevent another mid-staffs scandal. Tell us more about this.
So the bill that's making its way through Parliament at the moment for the Health Service basically takes an axe to the organisations that were put in place to protect patient safety in the wake of the Mid-Staffordshire scandal, which erupted when Andy Burnham was the Health Secretary. So we're seeing the abolition of Health Watch, which is the independent patient voice, where lots of people voice their initial concerns about poor care in their area. We're seeing something called the HSIB, the Investigation Bureau, which is a bit like the Air Accident Investigation Bureau, being merged into the CQC. And we're seeing the CQC lose its powers to get patient safety information from the NHS, which is really important for the regulator to be able to do to keep people safe. And we're urging Andy Burnham, who's expressed his support for Healthwatch in particular in the past, to say, don't take an axe to these really important measures. Let's change those bits of the health bill and keep people safe in the future to avoid another massive health scandal happening as we go forward.
OK, Helen Morgan, really good to see you this morning. Thank you very much for joining us on GB News Breakfast.
Now, let's take a look at some of the other stories making news coming into the GB newsroom.
The Education Secretary, Lucy Powell, is promising to revolutionise vocational routes for teenagers after it was revealed that some 50,000 youngsters will miss out on exam results this week. Lucy Powell says she wants to tackle the NEETs crisis, which refers to young people who are not in education, employment or training.
Thousands of jobs are said to be supported by a new £65 million government boost in Britain's electric car industry. Industry leaders will match the funding, with ministers hoping the money will protect skilled jobs.
And fewer than 1 in 5 women in England took folic acid before becoming pregnant last year. New research shows uptake has dropped from over 26% in 2021 to just 19% now. Folic acid helps a baby's brain, skull and spinal cord develop, and taking it reduces the risk of birth defects.
Now, British engineering giant JCB's bid to set a world hydrogen land speed record is surging ahead in Utah.
Yes, the company unveiled its aim to set the record with its new JCB Hydromax car.
Well, GB News chief US correspondent Ben Leo has this report from Utah.
Welcome to one of the flattest places on Earth. GB News is here at the Bonneville Salt Plains in the great state of Utah in America to witness British engineering history. Later today, JCB is bidding to break the hydrogen-powered land speed record in a car of their own making for the first time in nearly 20 years. And behind the wheel is the fastest man on Earth, Wing Commander Andy Green, the RAF officer who is the only person ever to break the sound barrier on land.
I've been lucky enough not only to have the world's best day job flying jet fighters for the Royal Air Force, but also the world's best holiday job driving high-speed straight-line racing cars. 1997, I was the driver with the Thrust Supersonic car team, which did what it said on the tin. We got the car supersonic, 763 miles an hour. Diesel is coming to an end. Environmentally, we are looking at a new solution, and JCB have looked over the last few years to develop a car which is going to be zero emissions and usable around the world, remote sites, building sites. So they have converted their internal combustion engine to run on hydrogen, and this year we are taking the JCB Hydromax, now 2 JCB Digger hydrogen-powered engines, back to Bonneville to do faster than before. We're going to go over 350 miles an hour.
JCB has been on the Bonneville Salt Plains here in Utah all last week testing their hydrogen-powered car, and they clocked a record speed of 368 miles per hour. However, it won't count unless it's performed in front of FIA motorsport officials, which is what they're hoping to do later today. 30,000 acres, 12 miles long, 5 miles wide of pure salt. You can grab it in your hand. A lot of it's quite hard, but it's not used to throw on your fish and chips back home. They do extract it commercially, but for fertiliser. They call it potash, potassium chloride. Lake Bonneville disappeared around 14,000 years ago. It was around 1,000 feet deep at the time. As I said, it's prehistoric, but if it existed today, it would be far grander, far bigger than present-day Lake Michigan. The truth is, I can hardly keep my eyes open, such is the intense reflection of the sun on the vast white salt plains here in Utah, but I'll certainly need to have them open later on when JCB come down in their first bid to perform British engineering history around 5 p.m. UK time, conditions permitting. I'll be here, GB News will be here to bring you live updates of their record attempt, and I have to say, I am so excited to bring you what could be the next British land speed record in a hydrogen-powered car.
Yeah, Ben's going to be there with live updates, so don't miss it here on GB News.
In his shorts, hopefully.
Oh, maybe.
Time now for your weather. See if it's short-wearing weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, and this is your latest GB News forecast from the Met Office. So Monday promises to be a slightly cooler day than Sunday. Dry for most, but plenty of sunshine. There is a little bit in the way of clouds, certainly across the south during the course of this morning. This is actually the legacy of a cold front which sunk south across the whole country during the course of the weekend. But some of the cloud on this front will be thick enough to produce a little bit of light rain and drizzle here and there, but more of a nuisance value. Most places staying dry. But with clear, bright sunshine, temperatures into the afternoon reaching into the high 20s, highs of 27 degrees for London. It's a slightly different story further north with a fair amount of cloud across parts of Scotland. And that will certainly actually help to keep a lid on the temperatures into the afternoon. By the time we get to the evening, we're looking at temperatures into the high teens. But there are some brighter skies in the mix too. Cloudier skies across parts of Northern Ireland. And again, temperatures not too far off the seasonal average. But across England and Wales, with bright, clear sunshine on offer into the evening, temperatures comfortably into the mid-20s. And with clear skies overnight, we are likely to see a few mist and fog patches forming across England and Wales. Cloud does persist across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. And overnight temperatures in Scotland will actually dip low enough, certainly some rural spots, for a touch of grass frost, but staying rather warm across the south with overnight lows in the mid-teens. But it's a bright and sunny start Tuesday morning. And if anything, the cloud across northern parts of the country will gradually lift and brighten up, so turning bright and sunny even here too, and across parts of Northern Ireland. But it's a warm day, another warm day, especially across England and Wales, with highs of 27 or 28 degrees across parts of the south. And these higher temperatures will actually push further north through the day. That's your forecast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, do stay with us. Still to come, Reform UK's Home Affairs spokesperson Zia Youssef is here with us very shortly. He's telling us all about Reform's prison plan. That'll be interesting.
But first, of course, the rise of the robot cop. Greggs introduces robot security guards. Effectively just CCTV cameras, but anyway.
Yeah.
Will it deter shoplifting? That's next on GB News.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Brave.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pierce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to
stop.
You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Return of the Robocops, how do you feel about this? It's coming to a Greggs near you.
Yeah, but is it? Really, is it a Robocop? Security machines, they're being described as, are being introduced in Greggs bakeries around the country to help stop shoplifters. But will they really stop criminals?
Well, we're joined now by consumer journalist Harry Wallop. Morning to you, Harry. How would you describe these Robocops as they're being described, and talked about in the papers today? To us, it looks like a wet floor sign with a little CCTV in the middle. Is it anything more than just CCTV?
No, you're right to be sceptical. That is essentially what it is. It's a piece of plastic cardboard. It's solar powered, so it doesn't need to be plugged in. The one thing that makes it, they were originally designed. They're called safer pods. They were originally designed for the construction industry, so that they could monitor people who are sort of breaking into building sites and record them. And of course, the great advantage is they can be moved around and placed wherever you want them to. If you do try and attack this safer pod, it will send out an alarm, and in theory it can be monitored remotely, but so can other CCTV. So it has been proven to work in some shops. So Boots, the chemist, have used it. They've put it particularly in the perfume aisles, where a lot of high value theft has occurred, and apparently levels of perfume thievery has fallen significantly. So it does put off opportunistic thieves. They see it, they think, oh, actually, I'm being recorded. It's very much in my face CCTV. I won't try my luck. But I think, people who are determined to steal, who don't really care about the existing CCTV already, this is going to make very little difference.
We've seen these things tested with the likes of these ridiculous cardboard cutout police officers that are supposed to have some kind of effect. I'm not sure if there's any evidence that they actually have an effect. Suppose the one thing that this is going for is, as you say, it's got CCTV, so there's an element in there that could record you, could ensure that you're convicted if you're caught doing something. But that's it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and that is the key thing. So the real problem with so much high street shoplifting, and of course retailers hate the term shoplifting because they think that sort of belittles the seriousness of the crime. The key thing is that the retailers and the police act together, and actually it does look possibly like the tide is turning on retail crime, because more police forces realise, actually we do need to take this seriously. And there's actually just been a trial done in London with the Met Police and 6 particular boroughs. And when they have sent through the CCTV footage within a matter of minutes, there's a scheme whereby the police act on it, the level of conviction has gone up enormously. So what in the past happened was that shopkeepers would say, we've got CCTV footage, we know the person who has stolen these items. They're a regular thief who come in on almost a daily basis. We've got the footage, do something, and the police turn up 2 weeks later and go, oh yeah, we'll do our best, or they won't even turn up. So when the police are determined to to crack down, it does make a difference. And the key thing is CCTV footage of decent quality. And if they sort of do it within a couple of hours, and there's increasingly these schemes whereby the retailers can report it immediately, the police do something, the conviction rate goes from something like as low as 2 or 3% way up into the 20%. So that is starting to make a difference.
OK, Harry, well, thank you very much indeed for speaking to us this morning. And I think, you know, Harry's right. The police need to get, and I think they are to an extent, getting a bit more serious about going after shoplifters. But the problem is, you've got a government that's now going to release many thousands of these recidivists, the so-called low-level repeat offenders, back onto the streets to go and to rob Greggs and wherever else.
And the like, yeah.
We're going to see crime rates absolutely.
Yeah, well, that's the 89,000 offences that the Daily Mail is talking about this morning. That's the estimate they're putting it at. Lots of you getting in touch on this one. Somebody said, won't they just be able to be knocked over? It does look that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Another person saying it's just a sad state of affairs that a bakery has had to resort to this.
Yeah, indeed.
And we shouldn't be taking the mickey out of it.
Yeah, well, you know, we're not ridiculing Greggs as such, but just, you know, in terms of the effectiveness of this, they don't really care about CCTV as it is.
No.
I'm not sure they're going to care about it because it's sort of presented in the package of something that looks like a Robocop.
Anyway, let us know what you think. Keep your views coming in, gbnews.com/you'll say. In the meantime, let's have a listen to our daily reflection.
The GB News Daily Reflection.
Hello, my name is Johnny Dade and I'm vicar in the Church of England. I wonder if you've ever been caught in a storm. Many years ago, I took an overnight ferry to visit family on the Shetland Islands in Scotland. The crossing was so rough that many passengers became extremely ill. Well, there's a well-known story in the Bible where Jesus' disciples are caught in a storm on the Sea of Galilee, and it must have been terrifying. But then they see something, Jesus walking towards them on the water. In the ancient world, the sea symbolized chaos, so this story is meant to unsettle us until we see Jesus. Undeterred, he walks straight into the storm and calls Peter, "Come to me." Well, chaos and storms take many forms. Maybe chaos defines your life right now, buffeted by the wind and waves with no let-up. Where is God, you might ask? Well, here we see a response. Jesus does not flee the storm. He walks into it, holding out his hand. "Keep your eyes on me," he says to Peter. Maybe some of us need to hear that today. In the chaos and the confusion, Christ comes as our anchor. In the face of life's storms, Jesus proclaims peace. Have faith, he says. Keep your eyes on me.
That's very comforting, isn't it? In life's storms,
indeed,
Jesus will be there.
Well, we're going to be speaking after the break to Reform UK's spokesman for Home Affairs, Zia Yusuf. Join us after that.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M27 westbound is closed between junctions 4 and 3 in Southampton West. The M42 eastbound is closed between junctions 5 and 6 in Solihull East. The M6 southbound has an obstruction at junction 17 in Congleton. In Scotland, the A78 is closed in both directions between Dunlop Street and A8 Ratho Street. Across Wales, the M4 eastbound from J27 High Cross to J24 Coldra is congested with possible delays. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway services are running a reduced service, and the Elizabeth line has a reduced service to and from Heathrow terminals. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Britain is not just a geographical expression,
We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello, every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Now, just time to tell you about the Great British Giveaway now, because I believe Friday is actually the last day to enter this. £60,000 in tax-free cash.
And a gold bar.
And a real gold bar, exactly that. Here are all the details that you need.
Welcome to the Yellow Sea Restaurant at Orla Santi Domes Resort. We've been enjoying a golden summer, and you could be celebrating a golden win. Cheers!
There's 2 fantastic prizes to be won. First, an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash that you can spend on anything you like. Treat yourself to the ultimate in 5-star luxury, or save that cash for a rainy day. Plus, if that wasn't enough, we'll also give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000. It's a total prize value of over £65,000. Just make sure you don't miss out, as lines will close on the 21st of August. There's one guaranteed winner, and that could be you. So get your entry in, and best of luck.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Votes. Everyone can talk about votes by now. Oh, we're back on air. But good luck with that competition. Mark, you've got some breaking news for us, haven't you?
Yeah, just another update on the situation in the English Channel. It's a bit windier today, but having said that, a small boat has pushed off from way down the coast, Dieppe, according to our producers telling us that a migrant dinghy is just being launched from an area just near the port of Dieppe. They are normally in the water for the better part of 24 hours, coming all that way up the channel. But hey, that's where we are. This follows the news now that we can confirm that over the last couple of days, over the weekend, 950 arrived, including 230 that arrived at 2:30 this morning. We're trying to bottom out whether that was one boat or two. There is some suggestion, and this would be incredible if true, that it may have been a mega dinghy. If it was a mega dinghy, to be carrying 230, that absolutely smashes the previous record of 173.
That's a worrying development. If so.
230 on a single dinghy is just, it's beyond ridiculous. It really is.
It really is, and dangerous. Chris Akabusi, Dawn Neeson here with us. Chris, what's your reaction to this news this morning? The small boat crossings that keep on coming.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a mockery of the money that the previous one government gave to France in order to...
Well, this government, 662 million, they've just given to the French.
Yeah, I mean, I think the normal person, everyday person, just doesn't understand why we can give that amount of money to a country and still have this flooding of people coming across. I don't know what we can do about it. I know that there's a new task force, isn't it, supposed to be going in to the country and the boats. I mean, Zia Youssef and Reform are talking about stopping them and turning them back, etc., etc. It's obviously something that's been ongoing now for a good half dozen years, and we've got to get a grip of it.
Yeah. Dawn?
It's interesting. It's $1 billion we've given the French now, isn't it? And it's interesting talking to a Swedish journalist at the weekend, because Sweden has managed to sort their problem out, right? Their illegal immigration has gone down hugely. They don't have a problem anymore. And talking to them, I said, well, how have you done it? And, you know, and they've introduced lots of... they've tightened up the benefits ruling, they've tightened up what they can do. You know, if you are allowed to stay, it's really difficult to stay, and you have to learn to speak Swedish, and you have to get a job, blah, blah, blah. They've made it almost impossible for migrants to settle in that country. I said, but how have you done it? Because you're signed up to the ECHR and all of this as well. And he goes, well, there's a will, there's a way. Because if you want to do it, you can really do it. And that is the situation. The people dealing with this issue are in government. They are the ones that make the laws. They can change the laws.
Political will, isn't
exactly. And we just don't seem to have the political will in this country to be able to do it.
And also in Nordic countries, as you were just talking about there, the attitudes have changed a lot in the past decade. And the same thing in the Times today. Our attitudes here in Britain have hardened in the past decade. People are saying that people coming to this country is mostly a bad thing. And that would have been a different answer 10 years ago.
Exactly, because I think we are also sick and tired of, we're all feeling the cost of living crisis in this country, and we are sick and tired of being taken for mugs by our politicians from Labour and from the Conservative Party about what's going on. And it's the fact that we're being lied to about the situation as well that really worries me. It's like, no. They're not dangerous. They're not dangerous to women and girls. And that's a barefaced lie. I mean, women are being murdered in this country by people that come across illegally on these boats. It's just terrifying.
What do we make of this image on the front page of the Times this morning? It's also on the front page of the Daily Mail online. It's this baby, just looks to be months old, being dangled into a small boat by, you can imagine that's his parent, putting him on this small boat. And the Daily Mail reporting that the French police saw this and didn't stop this baby being put
lock them up and throw away the key.
But where are the parents?
Well, you'd imagine the parents are on the boat, wouldn't you?
I mean, it's a difficult one. I mean, if I was on the boat, I wouldn't want to leave my baby on the shore. So I don't understand. You showed me a picture, but if I was on the boat, I'd want my baby to be with me. I don't know, Mark.
But why? Listen, with a child that young, why would you embark on such a reckless, dangerous journey when you're already in a safe country?
Well, for the same reason that 9/11, people jumped off tall buildings. That if I'm really in fear of my life, etc., I might do anything. I don't know the story, so it's very difficult to comment because it does look graphic, it does look horrible. But if I am that parent on the boat and I'm scared, I'd jump off a tall building. I'd have no problem.
The problem is they're not getting on that boat from Iraq or from Syria or from Afghanistan. They're getting on the boat from France. Okay. So their lives aren't at risk in France. So, I mean, I would not. I mean, I agree with you.
That's the point.
I agree completely with you, Mark. I mean, that tiny baby, it's heartbreaking to see. But you wouldn't risk your child's life, surely, to make that crossing. It's dangerous for adults.
When France is a safe country.
When France is a safe country.
Just to say, it's worth repeating, we're trying to bottom out these reports that 230 illegal immigrants may have arrived in a single mega dinghy arriving into Dover at 2:30 this morning. If that's true, it's just...
remarkable.
crazy and reckless. But the biggest number we've had so far, which is also huge, is 170 plus on a mega dinghy coming across. But 230 is just...
It's the thing is, Mark, we talk about this story day in, day out, with good reason, as you pointed out earlier today. You know, people are really concerned about it now.
Yeah, and attitudes are shifting. Keep your views coming in on that one. You two stay exactly where you are. We're going to be right back with you after a check on your European broadcast.
Coming right.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hi there. A lot of high pressure dominates much of southern Europe, with a lot of sunshine and some thunderstorms in the mix too. Those thunderstorms, particularly across parts of Turkey and Greece, where we're seeing temperatures into the mid-30s. Further west across Italy, temperatures into the high 30s and low 40s, and very hot across parts of Spain as well, but a little bit more on the way cloud and slightly fresher conditions across the Canary Islands. Staying settled and hot throughout next week, temperatures peaking later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Britain's Newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
Yes, the Malaysian government has announced that it will renew the search for Malaysia Airlines flight MH370, which disappeared 10 years ago without a trace.
Yes, the plane was carrying 239 people from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing. Previous attempts to locate the plane have all failed, leaving the families of those on board without any kind of closure.
Well, for more on this, let's speak to Terry Tozer, a former airline pilot and author of Confessions of an Airline Pilot, Why Planes Crash. Terry, you sound like the perfect man to talk to about this, because this is perhaps the biggest aviation mystery of our modern age.
Yeah, it is, and obviously a great tragedy as well. It's good to know that they're going to have another crack at trying to find it.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
This is just health and safety gone mad. It's not the role of public authorities to be telling people what's for their best interest. And the reality is, it's probably better to take the chance of a tree branch falling on you than going out in the sun and getting getting burnt in the sun. But the reality is, the reason why these councils are saying you've got to stay out of underneath the trees is they don't want anybody to get struck by a branch which they have a liability to, whilst they don't have a liability for anybody getting sunburnt. So it's all to do with public liability. I mean, if you look at East Cheshire Council, for example, in 2024, they had to pay out £500,000 because a branch fell on somebody.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
In my hand, I have the colander. I have a piece of paper. Yes, there you have one too. So I'm going to run it so you can see me. So I think what you do is you shine, you indicate, you tell me what to do, and I'll do it for you.
You never look at the sun directly.
Yep,
you allow the light to go through the colander, and that'll actually act as a pinhole camera and project images of the sun onto the piece of paper, and then you can look at the piece of paper and see the eclipse take place. Simple as that. You can do it also by using binoculars or a telescope and projecting an image through from them onto a piece of paper. Yep. That will work just as well. Or get a bucket of water, let it settle, and look in the bucket of water, and you'll see the image of the sun in the water, and then you can observe the eclipse that way.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Remember.
Well, welcome back. We just want to bring you up to date with the breaking news, which is close to 1,000 illegal immigrants have crossed the English Channel this past weekend. GB News can reveal those figures. And this morning, even though the wind has picked up in the Channel, another migrant dinghy has just launched from a beach near the port of Dieppe. And on top of that, we're trying to bottom out some reports we're getting from our producer in Kent that 230 arrived at 2:30 this morning into Dover Harbour, and they may have been on one single dinghy, a mega dinghy, which would be just incredible if true. Well, we can get some instant reaction now by speaking to Reform UK's spokesperson on Home Affairs, Zia Yusuf. Zia, good morning to you. What do you make, first of all, of 1,000 crossing before we even get to the potential for a mega dinghy taking so many across?
Well, the invasion of Britain continues. And as you are reporting from our coastline, look, calling it a small boats crisis now, I mean, even that's an obsolete term. I mean, even the term mega dinghy is something of an oxymoron, isn't it? The boats are getting bigger, records are being broken. I think, was it only last week that you reported it was 185, which is already a new record. So these numbers are extraordinary. We've had well north of 200,000 now people turn up on our beaches illegally. That is way more than the number of men that stormed the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. This is an invasion by any sensible definition of the term. That's why we announced Operation Fortress last week, which is endorsed by the only world leader who can honestly say that he has stopped a large-scale illegal boats crisis, which is former Prime Minister of Australia, Tony Abbott. He has endorsed our plan, said it, quote, it can be done and it must be done. Lots of former members of the armed forces have also endorsed the plan and said, look, if we're not going to use the Navy to defend our own shores from an invasion, then what on earth are we ever going to use it for? So we've got to do that. We've also got to deport the well north of 1 million illegal migrants already in the country. Under reform, you know, the days of illegal migrants coming and getting a free ferry service, free hotels, free food, etc., the taxpayer expense, which is what the Tories laid on for 14 years, and it's what Labour are continuing. Those days are going to end. They're going to get detained. They're going to get deported. You will see our Royal Navy in the Channel immediately, maintaining a hard perimeter. Not a single unauthorised vessel will make it to our shores. Those will be the orders issued to the First Sea Lord by Prime Minister Farage if Reform wins the next election. That's the only way we are going to stop this crisis.
Mr. Yusuf, can I ask you about our top story this morning, which is new analysis this morning has revealed that the early release scheme could spark 89,000 more crimes. This according to analysts, meaning thousands more Britons could become victims of crime. Does this early release scheme need to be scrapped? Does it need to be stopped? What would Reform's answer be to this prisons crisis?
Well, the idea of letting people who have committed serious crime out of jail early, a day early, I think is reprehensible to the concept of justice. I think justice is all but lost in this country now. And Reform's solution to this problem is we need to dramatically increase prison capacity. So this problem began under the Tories. They imported 6 million net new people in 14 years and built 455 net new prison places to cope. Labour are quite happy to allow serious criminals out because that's their ideology. Under Reform, we're going to bring justice back. So number one, we're going to clear out all of the foreign national offenders very quickly from our jails by, if their home countries won't take them, then we're going to send them to countries like El Salvador or Kosovo. We're going to rent prison spaces there, and that will be our message to countries like Albania. If you won't take back the many people in our jails from your country, they're going to serve their sentences in El Salvador. We'll use that space to end early release for good for people who commit crimes, people who are killers, people who are rapists, people who are violent thugs. Those people will not be allowed out of jail early because it's not only the number of crimes, which is really, really serious, it's the severity of them. So these mad early release programs have already cost lives. It was just last year. A man was released early and within hours went on to brutally kill a 26-year-old man with a chisel. Right, that happened within hours of him being released from jail early. We're already talking about the killers of P.C. Harper, who dragged this poor brave officer a long way down a country road at speeds of up to 60 miles an hour. It is disgusting that such brutes are being allowed out of jail early. So if we want justice back, we've got to clear out the foreign nationals from our jails. We're going to build a lot of Nightingale prisons too. And yes, a lot more people will be in prison under a Reform government. If you commit a serious crime, you can expect to serve your full sentence, not released early like you were under the Tories and Labour.
Yeah, and these pop-up prisons, they could be created. You could put the vast majority of female prisoners in them, lower and medium risk offenders in them as well, and then the high risk offenders you can keep in normal jails. Why do you think other political parties just don't seem to be where the vast majority of the public are on this? As you say, they don't want these individuals released back into the streets a moment before they have to.
Well, because there's a whole load of reasons why prison capacity doesn't get built. So some part of his ideology, and there's a lot of the Conservative Party. I've been at dinners with former Tory ministers. When we discuss, I said, look, there's nowhere near enough people in prison in this country. There are too many people who are let out early. And they responded, no, there's far too many people in prison. We should be looking to let them out. So part of it is ideology, and Labour are even worse. But a big part of it, too, is in order to build, for example, Nightingale prisons at speed, which can absolutely be done, for example, on MOD land, which is extremely... of which there is a lot. There's about 1/3 hectares in the UK. You need to pass proper legislation that puts prison building basically on a war footing and clears the decks legislatively so that, so prisons are not being blocked by badgers or something like that. We heard about such a case just this weekend. So you do need to do the legislation. You do need MPs who support it. And this goes back to the original point I've always made about reform, which is to do all of these things we've talked about. Stop the boats, deport illegal migrants, every single one in the country. To build prisons at scale, to make sure serious criminals stay in prison and get the right sentence. You need to have a majority of MPs who are willing to vote those things through and stand up to the bureaucracy. The Tories failed miserably at that. Labour are at the opposite end of the political spectrum. So if you want those things, you've got to vote for reform. As simple as that.
With El Salvador or Kosovo about renting spaces there, would they be happy for that? You can imagine they would be in terms of the money that would be coming in there. And also, how would you deal with the legal challenges that would inevitably come down the track with human rights lawyers?
Well, with regards to all of the legal stuff, it's all the same stuff, really, we talked about last summer with Operation Restoring Justice. So, yes, the way the legal system is set up, number one, obviously ECHR, which we would serve notice to leave on day one. Number two, there's a lot of those Strasbourg concepts that have been enshrined into British law through Tony Blair, and not only weren't undone by the Tories, but are actually made worse and calcified even more. So we're going to reverse all of those things. I mean, we've already started working on that legislation. We'll have thousands of pages of legislation ready to go by the time of the general election, should we win. And Nigel's our Prime Minister. We will pass more primary legislation and secondary legislation in our first year of government than any government in British history. In terms of other countries, look, we're going to talk to any country that is willing to rent prison places to us. Look, we are in crisis. The idea that a serving British police officer bravely doing his duty was killed in the line of duty, and the savages that killed him are being released early, and the Prime Minister is being told, as per Times reports overnight, that even if he wanted to intervene personally, he couldn't because of the legal system. This is an absolute disgrace. We need more prison space. That's why we're going to send foreign nationals. Look, the message is simple. If you are a foreign national offender, if you're a foreign national and you don't want to go to jail in El Salvador, for example, don't come to Britain and commit serious crime. Simple as that.
OK, Zia Youssef, as always, really good to see you. Thank you for joining us on GB News Breakfast.
Thank you, Zia. Let's go back to Chris and Dawn for the papers now. Talking about releasing prisoners, there these very worrying indications that liquid bomb plotting convicted terrorists are now at the point where they are being considered for release.
I mean, this is horrendous. So, look, I'm not necessarily... Well, I'm not for the death penalty, but if I was, these are the sort of people that would have not be here today.
At the very least, lock them up for a massively longer period than they're currently behind bars.
Well, lock them up and you don't find the key. Because, I mean, these three individuals totally revitalised or not revitalised, actually changed air flight because they went onto a plane, had different vials full of different chemicals that together would blow up the fuselage of a plane. Well, I mean, it's horrendous to think about the outcome if they managed to do that. And it changed aviation, and it's still not in a great shape now, but changed aviation so that there were massive queues, you had to have your vials, etc., etc., etc. And the idea that these three guys who could have caused that amount of destruction and devastation could be eligible for release. I can't understand it. I can't understand what community would allow these sort of people to live amongst them.
Yeah, I mean, briefly, Dawn, we're still living with the consequences.
Of course we are, yeah, no, absolutely. I'm sorry, lock them up, throw away the key. I mean, and these three scumbags have shown absolutely no remorse whatsoever. Have they changed their views? Are they going to be safe on the streets?
Of course they haven't.
No, of course they're not. No, sorry, they shouldn't. They should never be freed.
Chris, let's just have a quick look at something totally different. We've got about 45 seconds. Tell us about why we should stock up on kefir.
Kefir, milk. So basically, milk is not good for your bones, it's not good for your heart. Most mammals don't drink their parents' milk after they are and are grown of age. So don't do it. If you're going to go there, have cheese, have kefir, because of the chemicals in there. They are better for you.
Who first looked at a cow and thought, I'm going to squeeze the udders and drink what comes out? Who first thought of that?
On that particular note, we'll be back with you at the top of the hour.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, and this is your latest GB News forecast from the Met Office. So Monday promises to be a slightly cooler day than Sunday. Dry for most, but plenty of sunshine. There is a little bit in the way of clouds, certainly across the south during the course of this morning. This is actually the legacy of a cold front which sunk south across the whole country during the course of the weekend. But some of the cloud on this front will be thick enough to produce a little bit of light rain and drizzle here and there, but more of a nuisance value. Most places staying dry. But with clear, bright sunshine, temperatures into the afternoon reaching into the high 20s, highs of 27 degrees for London. It's a slightly different story further north, with a fair amount of cloud across parts of Scotland. And that will certainly actually help to keep a lid on the temperatures into the afternoon. By the time we get to the evening, we're looking at temperatures into the high teens. But there are some brighter skies in the mix too. Cloudier skies across parts of Northern Ireland. And again, temperatures not too far off the seasonal average. But across England and Wales, with bright, clear sunshine on offer into the evening, temperatures comfortably into the mid-20s. And with clear skies overnight, we are likely to see a few mist and fog patches forming across England and Wales. Cloud does persist across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. And overnight temperatures in Scotland will actually dip low enough, certainly some rural spots, for a touch of grass frost, but staying rather warm across the south with overnight lows in the mid-teens. But it's a bright and sunny start Tuesday morning. And if anything, the cloud across northern parts of the country will gradually lift and brighten up, so turning bright and sunny even here too, and across parts of Northern Ireland. But it's a warm day, another warm day, especially across England and Wales, with highs of 27 or 28 degrees across parts of the south. And these higher temperatures will actually push further north through the day. That's your forecast.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M25 anti-clockwise is slow after a collision between junctions 22 and 21A in St Albans. In Scotland, the M8 eastbound has queuing between junctions 27 and 26 at Arkleston and Hillington, with 3 lanes restricted. Across Wales, the M4 eastbound from J27 High Cross to J24 Coldra is congested with possible delays. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway services have a reduced service in place on services. And the Elizabeth line has a reduced service to and from Heathrow terminals. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Welcome to Orla Santi by Domes Resorts, and there's just 2 weeks left to see how you too could be enjoying the 5-star lifestyle. First, you can bank an incredible £60,000. We'll also give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
At the stroke of midnight, the news doesn't stop, and neither do we.
Day in, day out. Forget stuffy late night TV shows. We're giving you a front row ticket to the centre of the political universe.
Because breaking news doesn't wait for the morning.
And neither do we. Join us for one of the most controversial and volatile times of politics in human history.
A very big story.
Big story over here.
You won't get this anywhere else. The Late Show live at midnight, every night.
Only on GB News.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I think GB News is completely unique in the way that we interact with our viewers.
Our audience aren't afraid to have their say. They want their voices heard now, and they've got a channel where that can happen.
I find more and more as I'm wandering around, people come up to me and they say, "We saw you on television." I say, "Oh yes, on what?" "On GB News."
Hello, are you the famous Sue? The whole crew hit me here now. We came to celebrate.
It's our job to be the eyes and ears of the viewers.
They are part of the GB News family, and I'm pleased to say it's a very large family.
And if people go to the time and trouble of listening and watching, then we've got to do a good job for them.
Well, I'm here, right in the epicentre of the protest.
Here we go again.
If you just tuned in, where have you been?
It is raucous here tonight.
That's what makes us the fearless champion of Britain.
Good morning. As the Prime Minister Andy Burnham prepares to set off on his Great British Listening Tour, is it time that he listened to the pleas of families like PC Andrew Harper's?
Yeah, Labour's early prison release scandal deepens with PC Harper's killers. Just some of the thousands of violent criminals that will soon be freed.
Well, the consequences of the policy are starting to become clear as a new investigation finds that Labour's controversial plans could result in nearly 90,000 more crimes being committed. Well, earlier we spoke to the Lib Dem MP for North Shropshire, Helen Morgan, and this was her response.
We need to be clear that the most dangerous offenders, as I say, particularly domestic abusers, the killers of police officers in this particular case, they need to be prevented from being released under the early release scheme.
Well, Reform UK is calling for foreign nationals in British prisons to be deported to El Salvador and sent to the country's notorious mega prison. Could this fix our crippling prison system?
Breaking news this morning, more than 950 illegal immigrants arrived on small boats this past weekend, with the surge in channel crossings heaping yet more pressure on the government.
Ahead of another heatwave, the record is broken for the number of days in a year where temperatures go above 30 degrees Celsius.
Slightly cooler today compared to yesterday, but temperatures on the rise. And how hot is it actually going to get over the next few days? Tune in later to find out.
A question this morning, is it time to ban balaclavas in public? Well, Nottingham City Council is planning to do just that to make their city feel safer. We're asking, should the whole country follow suit? We're debating that later on this morning.
And sport this morning, Mikel Arteta says, friendly or not, Arsenal must improve. After losing to Dortmund yesterday, Manchester City hold firm over World Cup winning captain Rodri. Is he going to leave? Is he going to stay? And Keely Hodgkinson says that winning the European 800-metre gold medal this week would be as big as winning the Olympics.
Good morning, it's just gone 8 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Mark White. Welcome along to GB News Breakfast.
Do we think balaclavas should be banned?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Hideous.
Not in this weather.
Yes.
Sinister.
They're very sinister. They're very threatening.
Absolutely.
If I see anyone walking down the street in a balaclava, which I do here in London,
But did people
across
actually?
the street.
But I mean, originally it was just because it was cold. People wear balaclava. Nobody wears balaclavas these days because
I can understand if you're in Latvia in December.
Yeah.
But not on the British High Street in August.
Yeah. What do you wear one for? For one reason. Disguise your face.
You're up to no good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We see it at protests all the time. Usually
We
it's
do, yes.
well, almost exclusively, it's the far left. The activist groups who come out with their faces completely covered. Nice bunch of people.
Yeah, sounds it, yeah.
Let us know what you think on that one. You will have a view, gbnews.com/you'll say. Nottingham City Council banned them. Should the whole country ban them? We're going to be debating it in about 20 minutes' time, aren't we? So do stay tuned for that. In the meantime, temperatures could hit 37 degrees Celsius again this week, threatening railways and power networks.
Yeah, absolutely. No excuse for a balaclava. Yellow health alerts are in place across most of England until Tuesday, and that's before the peak of the heat wave even hits.
Well, here to tell us more is friend of the programme and weather journalist Nathan Rao. Very good morning to you, Nathan. The fifth heat wave of this year is on its way.
It certainly is, Ellie. Good morning. I know we're getting sick of it now, aren't we? But yes, Thursday is likely to be the peak of this heat wave. 37, I've seen 38 being touted. The record for August is 38.5. And if that goes, that means yet another record is going to fall in this summer of records falling like dominoes. Another heat dome. This is what's causing this latest heat wave. It's high pressure, what we've been calling a heat dome through the summer, building across the continent where the ground is so warm that when we draw that warm air up from the continent, we're going to see, particularly in the south and the southeast of this country, temperatures back into the mid-30s by Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday. Should point out that in Scotland and the northwest of Scotland, they're going to be fresher, I hesitate to say cooler, but fresher certainly with the chance of rain. And on the subject of rain, yes, we are in a drought situation and there is no sign of that on the way for half of the country, more than half of the country. So yes, heatwave number 5 is on the way.
And how long is it expected to last, do you think, Nathan?
This particular heat wave is expected to last until the end of the week. And although, Mark, you said that there are warnings from the UK Health Security Agency, heat health warnings in place until Tuesday, I'd imagine they're going to be extended right through to the end of the week. And I may even see some Met Office warnings for this heat wave as the humidity rises. End of the week, Ellie, is when the temperatures should dip a bit. But the overall outlook for the rest of August is for this high pressure regime. And that's what's causing this hot weather, high pressure heat dome, to hold out across the south of the country largely. Again, I'm going to point out that to the north, they may get a bit of an influence of low pressure, fresher conditions and rain. But for most of us, no end in sight to this.
Oh, OK. Nathan, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thank you. You too.
Now, joining us is the Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, Alex Burghardt. Alex, good morning to you. I just want to bring viewers up to date with the breaking news from the English Channel this morning, the fact that close to 1,000 illegal immigrants have crossed over the course of the past weekend, and we believe that it's possible there was a mega dinghy in last night with 230 on board. We're still just trying to confirm that for sure, but your reaction if that is the case?
Yeah, it's terrible. And this idea that Keir Starmer had that they would strike a kind of one in, one out deal that would act as a deterrent, and that we would see numbers collapse is just nonsense. And I have to say that since he became Prime Minister, I haven't heard anything from Andy Burnham about how he's going to tackle this problem. And I don't think he's been on GB News to talk about it, has he? So I think there's, I think there are major questions for the new government, and they're running away from them.
Yusuf was saying this morning that this actually highlights how the reform policy of taking some concerted action, of using the Royal Navy to turn these boats back, to take the migrants out and land them back on French beaches, is the obvious and sensible choice here. Is that not something that the Conservatives could get on board with?
Look, I think we have to keep all options on the table, but I think that the thing that really will work best is if we have a system where you pick people up and effectively their feet don't touch the ground and they end up in a third country, right? They end up in a third country with whom you have a proper agreement. And if you do that, as the Australians showed with Nauru, quite a few years ago now, you don't actually have to deport that many people because people stop travelling. They don't want to end up in a country in the middle of nowhere. And so if you build in those very active deterrents, you can solve the problem. But the Labour Party isn't going to do that. It's not going to leave the European Convention on Human Rights, like Conservatives have said that we would. And until that happens, we're going to be stuck in this problem, right?
Controversial early release scheme, because we've got new analysis out this morning. It's actually the front page of the Daily Mail. They're putting the number at 89,000 more crimes being committed as a result of these prisoners being released early. That does mean thousands of people in Britain will become victims of crime. Does this scheme need to be stopped? We were just speaking to Yusuf from Reform, who said that we need to think about deporting foreign nationals to El Salvador or Kosovo, and we also need to see Nightingale prisons being erected immediately. What's your response to that? Do you think that's the answer to fix this prisons crisis, which this government will, of course, lay the blame at your door?
So a little while ago, Nick Timothy, the Shadow Secretary of State for Justice, set out what Kemi's Conservatives would do about it. We would do three things. We would build more prisons rapidly. We would make sure that we rented new places, particularly in countries like Estonia. I think Sweden has just bought a whole load of prison places off Estonia, so we would do that. And we would deport a whole load of foreign criminals who are in our jails. So if you do those three things, as Nick Timothy set out, then you can start to solve this problem. But this government isn't going to do any of that. It is just going to release very dangerous people, including people, it turns out, who are responsible for the death of policemen, out into the community, and there will be a consequence to that.
Isn't the truth of it that the vast majority of people in this country are just not with what the majority of politicians are saying here, which is even contemplating releasing some early? They would like to see pop-up prisons, hold them for the absolute maximum that they can be held for before they're then released back into society with all of the consequences that entails.
We don't, my constituents in Brentwood and Ongar and Essex, they don't want to see these people released. They shouldn't be released. There are alternatives, but Labour aren't going to take those alternatives, right? Andy Burnham, I don't think, is prepared to take the difficult decisions around this to solve the problem. We need to build more prison places, we need to buy prison places abroad, and we need to deport foreign criminals.
In a few moments, Mr. Burghardt, is about balaclavas. And we are asking, should we ban balaclavas in this country? The reason we're asking that this morning is because Nottingham City Council have banned them, are planning to ban them. They want to make the city feel safer. Is that something that needs to be seen across this country?
It's a very interesting idea, what I'd be interested in looking at, because I think that with face coverings in public spaces, certainly in public life, what you're effectively doing is deliberately hiding your identity, and the people who are normally doing it are doing it tend to be doing it for reasons of protection, because they might be on the brink of breaking the law. So I think you do. Yeah, I think it's always worth having these debates. But I haven't seen what Nottingham are proposing, but I will look into it.
Okay, great.
Can we just ask you about your reaction to the government's expected announcement on zero emissions? They're piggybacking your ideas, you think?
So which announcement's this?
On the zero emissions for the ZEV mandate.
So I think I think what Burnham's government is doing. Yes. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Sorry, it's that usual pesky delay thing. No, I didn't realise you weren't quite up to speed on this ZEV mandate issue, but we can leave it there.
Okay, thanks. I think what I would say is that I think we're going to. Okay. Right.
I think we've got a few technical problems there with the delay, but that's the Duchy of Lancaster, the Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, Alex Burghardt there. That was the press release that we were sent this morning by the Tories, so I think there may have been a bit of confusion there.
Yes. Sorry about that. It's just one of these things when there's a delay. It's usually about half a second to a second. Someone starts speaking, and then they suddenly hear me saying something. It's very off-putting.
The joys of live telly. There's never a dull moment, is there?
No, not on this channel.
And a busy road on a Monday morning. Yes, exactly. Right, in the meantime, let's tell you about the Great British Giveaway now, shall we? Because I believe we have until Friday. We probably need to clarify this with someone, but I think we've got until Friday for somebody to win £60,000 in tax-free cash, plus
a gold bar.
Yeah, we're excited about that one. Here are all the details that you need.
Welcome to Orla Santi by Domes Resorts. I'm in one of their beautiful sea view rooms. Luxurious, right? And there's just 2 weeks left to see how you too could be enjoying the 5-star lifestyle. There's over £65,000 in cash and gold to be won. First, you can bank an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. That's cash you could save, spend the rest of the year spending, or just relax somewhere like here, the award-winning Soma Spa. We'll also give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000. Just make sure you don't miss out as lines close on the 21st of August.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pooled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, as we were just saying to Mr. Burghardt there, we are going to be debating this morning this question. Oh, dropped my pen. Is it time to ban balaclavas in public? It's because Nottingham City Council is planning to do just that, to make their city feel safer. We're asking, is this something that should happen across the country? Do you say to you for that?
That guy doesn't look threatening at all.
He doesn't at all, no.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions, but every Friday night at 9 p.m. you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Do you trust what you're being told? Good, because neither do I.
Those are just facts.
I'm Alex Armstrong, and on my show, we'll expose the spin.
Well, I want to answer that, because you didn't let me last time, because you always speak over me.
The broken promises.
To deny that is denying the truth.
And the hypocrisy.
Needs to stop. You think we can allow?
Politics, policy, parliament. Nothing is off limits. No sugarcoating, no fear of offence, just the truth laid bare. Tune in every Saturday and Sunday at 9 p.m. for Alex Armstrong Tonight, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Now, let's get a quick check at the weather because we've got a fifth heat wave on its way.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, and this is your latest GB News forecast from the Met Office. So Monday promises to be a slightly cooler day than Sunday. Dry for most, but plenty of sunshine. There is a little bit in the way of clouds, certainly across the south during the course of this morning. This is actually the legacy of a cold front which sunk south across the whole country during the course of the weekend. But some of the cloud on this front will be thick enough to produce a little bit of light rain and drizzle here and there, but more of a nuisance value. Most places staying dry. But with clear, bright sunshine, temperatures into the afternoon reaching into the high 20s, highs of 27 degrees for London. It's a slightly different story further north with a fair amount of cloud across parts of Scotland. And that will certainly actually help to keep a lid on the temperatures into the afternoon. By the time we get to the evening, we're looking at temperatures into the high teens. But there are some brighter skies in the mix too. Cloudier skies across parts of Northern Ireland. And again, temperatures not too far off the seasonal average. But across England and Wales, with bright, clear sunshine on offer into the evening, temperatures comfortably into the mid-20s. And with clear skies overnight, we are likely to see a few mist and fog patches forming across England and Wales. Cloud does persist across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. And overnight temperatures in Scotland will actually dip low enough, certainly some rural spots, for a touch of grass frost, but staying rather warm across the south with overnight lows in the mid-teens. But it's a bright and sunny start Tuesday morning. And if anything, the cloud across northern parts of the country will gradually lift and brighten up, so turning bright and sunny even here too, and across parts of Northern Ireland. But it's a warm day, another warm day, especially across England and Wales, with highs of 27 or 28 degrees across parts of the south. And these higher temperatures will actually push further north through the day. That's your forecast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Now, Nottingham City Council is calling for a ban on balaclavas following a rise in crime and antisocial behaviour.
Yes, businesses in the city centre are apparently relieved that action might finally be taken after a scourge of criminal activity led to fewer locals visiting the high street.
Well, this morning we were asking, should balaclavas be banned in all public spaces?
Well, let's speak to Chief Political Writer for Spiked, Brendan O'Neill, and Chair of the London Green Party, Eugene McCarthy, who joins us now. Very good morning, gentlemen. Brendan, let's start with you. Should balaclavas be banned in all public spaces?
Absolutely, no question whatsoever. I think in an open democratic society, people have a responsibility to show their face. We need to know who we're dealing with, who we're talking to, which of our citizens we are connecting with. It is incredibly antisocial to cover your face in public. It is indicative probably of either having something to hide or possibly planning to get up to something wicked and you don't want CCTV to see you. There's no good reason to wear a balaclava. There is something sinister behind that, and I think we should, by law, prevent people from being able to do it.
Well, Eugene, we see time and again at protests, for instance, those that don't want to be seen using face coverings like balaclavas. It's time to ensure that they can't wear them in public again, isn't it?
Well, I think there's two parts to this. Firstly, I think, we need to tackle crime. There's a serious issue across all of our high streets. My hometown, where my parents still live in Basildon, the shops are dead because, there's so many thugs walking around the streets causing havoc. There's a massive gap between that and banning all face coverings in public. I think that it's a serious impingement on our freedoms to restrict people from choosing what to wear on their face. Because let's be clear, we have an increasing AI surveillance state where all CCTV cameras are hooked up to this global surveillance system. And increasingly, we have police out and about using facial recognition to track who you are and where you are. Now, you might think that's fine to tackle crime, but let's not forget that the government is the Labour Party. And I don't trust the Labour Party, frankly, to be completely neutral and impartial with the laws they pass, to respect people on their right and on their left, and not imprison us for saying mean things on the internet or saying thoughts that they don't like about foreign conflicts, which we should have the perfect freedom to talk about. So that's what this is about at the end of the day. The second you give up your freedoms for something that seems good in practice, you give the government carte blanche to tackle people for their freedom of speech and freedom of expression. And that's a slippery slope which we are already tumbling down.
What do you make of that, Brendan?
Oh, it's good to hear the Green Party talking about freedom of speech for once, given that their leader, Zach Polanski, was the only party leader to support the arrest of Graham Linehan by 5 armed officers for making a joke about transgenderism. That's a relief. But the thing is, this is not connected with freedom of speech. And in fact, the most important freedom in this discussion, I think, is the freedom of everyday people to know who they're talking to, the freedom of ordinary people on the streets, going shopping, taking their kids to school, not to be surrounded by masked men. There is something quite unnerving about being surrounded by masked men, especially for older people, especially for young mums with kids on their way to school. And on the streets where I live, I see kids in balaclavas all the time, and there is something menacing about that. And we've seen polls and surveys that suggest that older people are going out less frequently, especially in the evenings, because they don't feel safe. We're seeing polls that say women feel less safe in our town centres because the police have let them go to rack and ruin. What about the freedom of those law-abiding citizens to go about their daily business without feeling scared, without seeing masked men? In what strain of life should you see a bunch of young men in masks? That is a very unusual thing, and I think it actually supports liberty to prevent people from being able to dress in this menacing way.
Well, Eugene, you talk about the slippery slope here, but really, isn't it, at the end of the day, all about context? Of course, in the winter, when it's below zero or whatever, you expect to see people covering up their face. You don't expect it in the height of summer on our high street or in protest. Surely it's all about context here as to when we deem these things appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I don't think that it's appropriate to pass sweeping legislation to ban that. Now, if you ban face coverings in public, you are banning Halloween. Kids can't go out dressed as Spider-Man because they're covering their faces. Now, that's why we cannot have legislation like this. The second you give the state the power to crack down on you for doing something that seems right in one circumstance, you give that power across, all activities. And I think that that's kind of the crux of the issue. You are right for saying that the streets are becoming lawless, and we have, thugs, plain and simple, on the street terrorizing older people, and they aren't being dealt with. The issue with that is that they aren't being dealt with because our police are so stretched. Our prison system is, non-functional. We don't have any sort of functional rehabilitation. We just send people in, let them out straight away. That's the core of the issue. It's not that we can't have CCTV surveillance tracking everybody's face. It's a simple matter of money in the police and the ability of the police to do their job effectively in the communities that need that support.
Really interesting debate. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Been good to see you both today. Thank you very much for sharing your views, and thank you very much for sharing your views online as well. Lots of you getting in touch. Caroline says, I don't think balaclavas should be banned at all. It feels like an infringement on civil liberties and freedom of choice, as burqas aren't banned. Face masks aren't banned either, so why should balaclavas be banned? It also feels like a slippery slope. Philip says all face coverings should be banned in public. Lots of you agreeing with Phil there. Do you get those views coming in?
Yeah, I think it's all to do with context, isn't it?
Yeah.
As I say, in the winter, you can see people covering up their face, but in the height of summer, it's
on the high street?
Yeah, it's very intimidating, and it's what criminals do to hide their identity.
And last one from Christine, who says, I live in Nottinghamshire. Ban all face coverings, especially on the tram. It happens all day, every day. Yeah.
OK, just before 8:30, time to catch up with the latest travel information, and keep, of course, watching, or listening, I should say, on digital radio.
Good morning, this is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M27 westbound is closed between junctions 7 and 5 near Southampton Airport after an HGV fire. The M25 anti-clockwise is affected by a collision between junctions 22 and 21A near St Albans. In Scotland, the M8 eastbound has 2 lanes restricted between junctions 6A and 6 near Chapel Hall and Newhouse. Across Wales, the A4232 northbound from A48 interchange to M4J33 Capel Llanilturn is congested with possible delays. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway services are running a reduced service, and the Elizabeth line has a reduced service to and from Heathrow terminals. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Now, do stay with us still to come. Paul's here with all your sports.
Yes, quite a bit. Big week for Britain's golden girl, Keely Hodgkinson. Very much hoping she's going to win gold at the European Championships this week, but it's not going to be easy. More coming up shortly.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There, you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
The Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back. It's sports time. Paul Coates here with us.
Premier League back soon, although in Scotland it's already
back?
started. 3 games in, loss for Rangers, win for Celtic, and also Hearts won as well. But there were friendlies involving Premier League sides. Manchester City beat Atletico Madrid, so a good result for them. Enzo Maresca, the new manager.
You're getting used to that, aren't you?
Yeah, I know. It's strange without Pep.
I know.
It's just strange without Pep, and the season hasn't even started yet. So Enzo Maresca was asked about Rodri. Now, Rodri, who, great player, Ballon d'Or winner, and he won the best player of the World Cup because he was the captain of Spain, of course. Of course, there's Rodri there. But it looks likely that he's going to leave. So is he going to go to Real Madrid? Is he going to go to Barcelona? Is he going to stay at Manchester City? This is quick. So Enzo Maresca was asked about it, but it is quick. But this is what he had to say.
Yes, at the moment he will be in Manchester on Wednesday. There is not any update.
Yeah, quite short.
Short and sweet.
He's going to be in Manchester on Wednesday. I don't know if he's going to be on holiday or whether he's coming back, or we don't know. But I think it's likely that he will go to Barcelona.
And it's not a huge price tag,
No,
is
it's
it?
not. We're talking about 40 million.
Yeah.
I think they want around 70. He's got a year left on his contract. But even so, you think it's going to be a lot of money. Liverpool lost 3-2 at home to Monaco yesterday. Andoni Iraola is his first game as manager at Anfield, and they threw away a 2-goal lead again. And he said, we can't sustain the level that we want for all the games. See, the thing is, he's the sort of manager that's going to want them pressing. So maybe it's going to take a little time to get used to, which always happens when a new manager comes in. But don't forget, it's friendlies. It just doesn't really matter. There's a lot of fans. I'm seeing a lot of fans on social media going, oh, this is the greatest. Oh, this is brilliant. Oh, this is terrible. It's a friendly. Don't worry until the Premier League actually gets going. Although it's different when it comes to Arsenal because they did lose 3-2. It was to Dortmund at the Emirates. Bruno Guimaraes, he's signed and he was paraded on the pitch as well. He's the new signing from Newcastle. And Mikel Arteta, let's hear from Mikel Arteta. First time we've heard from him since winning the Premier League title, and this is what he had to say about losing to Dortmund.
So, yeah, we lost the game. Obviously not happy about it. And, things obviously that have to be improved. Certain players that need to get more minutes and rhythm, which is going to be really helpful what we went through today, especially certain parts of the game. And tomorrow, finally, everybody back.
So, you know, there's nothing to worry about. It's friendly. It's nothing to worry about. Quick word on Keely Hodgkinson.
Yeah, who we love.
We do love Keely. Is she going to win the European Championship? Has it been the greatest? You think so? Audrey Vero is this 800-metre runner that he's now like the main rival. At the start of the season, it seemed that Keely Hodgkinson was going to go out. She's saying, I want to break the world record. She did the indoor 800-metre record. But this Audrey Vero, Swiss athlete, is almost, I mean, it looks like she's come from nowhere and ran the third fastest time in history. She beat Keely a couple of months ago. So it's payback time. European Championships happening in Birmingham this week. And one more for you. Now, this is a strange one. Bear with me before we see this. It's Brazilian football, Coritiba versus Chapecoense. I don't know whether I pronounced that right. Coritiba defender JC scored a goal, and we will describe for those on the radio what happens straight afterwards. So have a look at this. So he goes over to celebrate. There we are. He runs over, jumps over, and disappears.
Falls in a hole.
He falls in a hole. For those on the radio, there's a big open gap as he jumps over the advertising hoardings. And what actually there was, unbeknownst to JC, there's a tunnel that leads to the changing rooms that was then uncovered. I know I shouldn't laugh, but I mean, I think he was OK. I'm pretty sure he was OK.
Oh, well, let's hope
but
so.
He jumps over and thinking, yeah, I'll jump over, celebrate. And it's not that nobody ever saw him again. They did see him a few minutes later. The goal, I mean, to add an insult to injury, the goal was ruled out by VAR. He was slightly injured, but not too badly.
Wow.
My goodness, look at that.
But you can't make it up. It looks intentional.
I know.
Obviously, it's not.
Hey, well, yeah. I'm not sure how deep it
Bonkers.
was. I think it was like over 50 feet deep, that hole.
Gosh.
Yeah, well, he's very lucky he didn't seriously injure him.
He is. I'm glad you're very serious about that. I'm glad you looked on the right side and we're not laughing. Mark's very serious about it. I mean, he is absolutely fine, so don't worry. Yeah.
That's good.
Thanks, Coity.
I know you are.
Now, do stay with us still to come. Car washes could be off the table as a fifth heat wave of the year approaches. Find out what else could be banned thanks to those water shortages. We're going to go through the list with Dawn Neeson and Chris Akabusi. Morning, you two. Very nice. Chat to you in just a second.
Dinner under the stars tonight?
That reminds me of our travel insurance.
You mean All Clear Skies?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
Hi there. A lot of high pressure dominates much of southern Europe with a lot of sunshine and some thunderstorms in the mix too. Those thunderstorms, particularly across parts of Turkey and Greece, where we're seeing temperatures into the mid-30s. Further west across Italy, temperatures into the high 30s and low 40s. And very hot across parts of Spain as well. But a little bit more on the way cloud and slightly fresher conditions across the Canary Islands. Staying settled and hot throughout next week. Temperatures peaking later.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News travel destinations forecast.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
4 heat waves, weeks without meaningful rain. As the UK heads towards one of its hottest summers on record, the pressure is showing here in Sussex, in the fruit growing across these fields.
Well, the impact of the heat is already visible here. This local grower says that if these extreme temperatures continue, this year's harvest may well be smaller in size.
I don't think there's been another period like this in the history. 3 years ago, we had a tremendous heat wave in the middle of harvest. We were unable to get the fruit to cool down quickly enough. The following year, we had a very, very light crop, and the same again this year.
GB News, the People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Britain's only all-female chess team, called She Plays to Win, has been promoted to the game's top division, only to be told they must recruit a male player to compete. Now, league rules require every First Division team to include at least one male and one female player, meaning that one of the team's female players could lose her place. I'm joined in the studio by the She Plays to Win chess players, Anusha and Alicia. Great to see you both this afternoon.
Thank you.
So sorry about what's going on. You've been promoted, but you might have to lose one of your teammates. What's going on here?
So essentially we have fallen victim to this rule that She Plays to Win, our team, has been promoted to the first division in our league, but now must have a male player as part of the rules.
GB News, the People's Channel. Good afternoon, Britain. Weekdays from midday.
Well, that drought is due to long periods, record periods actually, with no rainfall and high temperatures. The areas that are affected, as you say, over half of England, half of the UK affected by that. The areas being East Anglia, Hertfordshire, the whole of London, Thames Valley, Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, Devon and Cornwall, the West Midlands and Wessex, covering Dorset, Somerset, Wiltshire and Gloucestershire. So a huge area impacted by that drought. There is also that amber heat health alert still in place here. That's in place until tomorrow. And temperatures today in the south could reach up to 35 degrees. So people here in Bognor Regis coming to the coast to cool down.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Now, let's take a look at some newspaper front pages on this Monday morning.
Firstly, the Daily Mail says Labour's early prison release scheme could do something. Yes, potentially lead to 89,000 more crimes being committed.
The Express also leads on the early release scheme, with a growing number of victims speaking out against controversial policy.
In the Telegraph, it's been revealed that Chinese-manufactured camera components within Royal Navy spy drones have been secretly transmitting data to China.
And finally, in the Times, Lord O'Neill of Gately, a former Goldman Sachs economist and key advisor to Andy Burnham, has declined a role in his cabinet over concerns about a potential wealth tax.
Well, we're joined now by the Olympian Chris Sakabusi and former newspaper editor Don Neeson.
Morning.
Don.
Morning, yes. morning.
Hello.
We are, it seems, set for a huge crime wave as a result of this early release scheme.
Well, colour me shocked. I mean, who didn't see this one coming? I'm sorry. But, I mean, to be fair to the Daily Mail, they put it on their page one. I mean, this is a story that just carries on and on and on. I feel like we have been talking about the government's early release scheme for over a week now, probably because we have. But the latest headline is the fact that 89,000 more crimes could be committed because of this scheme. Sex offenders, robbers, arsonists and violent criminals will commit nearly 90,000 extra offences after being released earlier. And this is according to new analysis that has been done by the Conservative Party. Now, you could say, well, it's the Conservative Party. Of course, they would say that, wouldn't they? But they do have a point. I mean, you know, 500 added sex offences, 1,800 violent crimes and just under 36,000 thefts. It's just, I mean, we all knew this was going to happen. We all knew. I mean, there was a story last week, wasn't it, about, you know, crime rate going up by 6% if all these prisoners get released early. I mean, the bottom line is it shouldn't be happening. No. People should be serving their time. But on the other hand, we do have overcrowded prisons, so what are you going to do? And we all know that build Nightingale prisons and send foreign offenders back, da-da-da. We've been talking about it for ages, but no one's doing anything about it still.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is not free, is it, Dawn? Crime costs. It's a huge cost on society. Thousands of British people we're talking about here are going to become victims of crime.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, criminals aren't going to be sort of like rehabilitated because they're not going to go to prison, so they'll just carry on committing more crime. It's just a vicious circle and there's no answer to it. Well, there are answers to it, but no one seems to be doing anything about
Political will, isn't it, Chris?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's what you said, we said earlier on in the previous one, it's about the political will. I'm really surprised that sex offenders and violent criminals have got any prospect of being released. I mean, I thought that was the case anyway, that with all of these nouveau ideas, that sex offenders and violent criminals would not be eligible.
The devil's in the detail. They said rapists, right? OK, but if you've been charged with indecent assault, then you can be released. And a lot of the grooming gang, because of the way the law has changed and what they were charged under, they were charged with indecent assault. So the pieces of filth that raped those 13-year-old girls in the grooming gangs, because they were charged with indecent assault, they are going to be released.
Well, then our legislature and our executive need to get themselves in order.
Yeah, and that loophole needs to be closed, doesn't it? Chris, let's look at something totally different, shall we, which is the ire today. Another heatwave on the way. What is going to be banned as a result?
Yes, exactly. So we're into our 5th heat wave, and
or summer, as I call it.
Well, I love my summers, and so the chances are that the next one, car washes, swimming pools, recreational facilities will have restrictions put upon them as to the use of the water. But what really alarmed me in the small print was that further restrictions are being placed on farmers who hold licences that typically allow them to siphon water from rivers so they can irrigate crops. So then all of a sudden we're talking about food security and the investment on the land. That is really alarming. So quite clearly, climate change is here to stay. I'm not quite sure whether it's man-made or not, but we can say over the last decade or so, climate change is here to stay. So we need to get ourselves in order and have our irrigation things in place, having our reservoirs in place to ensure that we can, in the winter when we have all of this water, we store it, don't allow it to drain.
Build reservoirs, stop leaks. I mean, come on, it's not rocket science. But once again, we need the will to do it, and that doesn't seem to be happening.
Chris, let's have a look at this story. We like this one, didn't we? Front page of the Star this morning. This American couple are following in footsteps of Ryan Reynolds. What have they done?
Yeah, okay, so the headline was Wexons, which is a link between Wrexham and Texas. These couple in Texas got involved with Wrexham and went once, had some liaison, are now going to move lock, stock and barrel to support their team. And it just made me realise, you know, what they love most is the community spirit that sport and football engenders. And this is the thing, is that, you know, both Dawn and I, West Ham fans, can never go back. Once you go in, you're on, you never go in back. And, you know, like, on a weekend I was there Saturday, and I was in a completely different seating, and initially a little bit of a frost about these guys, who are they you sit next to? And before you know it, goal goes in, you're hugging guys that you've never met before, you go and check it out to the young kids, and it's such a bonding experience. It really so I can understand it's a big one here. They're going to travel 5,000 miles from Texas, but they're coming.
Just want to pause in the paper review for a second to bring you right up to speed with a story we're trying to bottom out a little earlier. GB News sources can now confirm that 230 illegal immigrants arrived overnight on a single boat, a mega dinghy that came into UK waters just after 2 a.m. this morning. The occupants picked up, as they always are, and taken to Dover Harbour. An absolutely incredible story, because the biggest number on a single dinghy was just over 170. Well, that was a huge number. 230. I just want to get your instant reaction, Dawn.
I mean, that's not a dinghy, is it? And that's literally a ferry. I mean, it's just insane what's happening. And, you know, people are risking their lives to do this. People, smugglers, are making loads of money of doing it. There has to be a way to stop it. There are ways to stop it. Other countries have managed to stop it. Australia, Sweden, they've all managed to stop this. Why can't we? What on earth is stopping our governments, because it's not just the Labour government, it's the previous Conservative government, what is stopping them actually doing it? There is a way to do it, but we're just not doing it.
Well, as you said again, it's the political will, the real political will to make this the action in which they will stand and fall by.
Well, Reform say they have the political will, that they would use the Royal Navy to intervene, to pull people off these small boats effectively and return them to France. France is not going to be happy about that, but do you think that robust approach is a potential way forward?
It's a potential way forward. I mean, I think, but the ongoing is that whether that you send them back to France or fast route them to another country, I think the
Like Rwanda.
Well, exactly, which I wasn't actually for at the time. But actually, I do understand now that if there's another facility you can send people to where they realise you can come here if you like, but you ain't staying here. That actually the next boat you're on or next is going to send you to another country that you've not really bargained for. Maybe that's where you go.
Mark, this is really significant, isn't it? 230 illegal immigrants packed onto a single dinghy. Do you think this is what's going to happen now? We're going to see this more and more increasingly so, that human trafficking gangs are going to exploit these mega dinghies to get people across the channel. And they're going to get larger and larger as time goes on.
Yeah, that's exactly what is happening. The official sort of government sources have been briefing in recent weeks that we are now seeing a sea change, really, in the way in which these people smuggling gangs are operating. They're going for fewer boats, but many more people on these boats, which, for obvious reasons, makes it much more perilous in terms of the danger, because you've got much more weight bearing down on what are fairly flimsy dinghies at the best of times. So the chance of one capsized, a mega dinghy capsized a week ago, everyone was plucked from the water, but it's only a matter of time before there is a very significant tragedy there. So that, I mean, that just goes to the need for some kind of much more robust, concerted action to deal with it.
So that argument is more appealing to me. The danger of the inhabitants within the boats for their life and their safety is much more appealing to me than we're being flooded and invaded. So if you can make that argument stick, bingo, I think you're onto a winner here.
Well, 3 women did die the other week in one of those mega dinghies when it overturned. Of all the people on that boat, there were I think there were 3 women. And the only people that died were the 3 women.
And it's always the case, isn't it, Dawn? It's the women and the children, the very few that are on these boats, are the ones that very sadly die. Because a lot of the time they are crushed, aren't they? Just absolutely horrific.
Because
and we're going to see that happen more and more the more packed these dinghies are.
And, you know, the idea of all women and children first and all those brave young men doing the utmost to protect the women and children, it's not happening, is it?
Well, no, hold on. If I was on a boat with my missus and my kids, I'll be protecting my missus and my kids.
Yeah, of course you would. Yeah, but you're not coming over in the boats, are you, Chris? These men seem to have completely... And that's the problem. They are coming from cultures where women and children, to a certain extent, especially little girls, are just not even second-class citizens, they're third-class citizens.
Well, let us know what you think of this. Lots of you reacting to this. Somebody's just been in touch saying the government seems to be doing nothing about this. This is a dereliction of duty. That's from Mark. Keep your views coming in. gbnews.com/you'll say.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be reaction pouring in thick and fast to this. The biggest ever recorded number of illegal immigrants on a single boat, a so-called mega dinghy. 230, GB News has been told, arrived overnight into UK waters, and the occupants taken to Dover Harbour.
Maybe it's something Andrew Burnham can address on his UK tour.
That's starting
tomorrow.
Yeah, well, maybe. It's certainly going to be a huge concern, isn't it, amongst British people. Look, just to end this paper review on a happier note, Chris, and we did promise you this in the Mirror today. You really want to talk about classic cars.
I was absolutely blown away by this one. I don't know if you've got pictures here, but this is a picture of in the Mirror. It's check you out. Well done. That is amazing. So I saw the Corgi, the classic car, Corgi. Anybody of my size is going to remember the Corgi cars, or Dinky or Mattel, the Mattel cars. And I remember there's a little Austin A60, and I've just seen it here in the picture, and I used to drive this car around like that. You could open the doors, the windows, check it inside, and you'd have a little adventure, park it in the garage, come back out, get the people in, and travel down the road. And all the cars were so exact like the cars you saw on the road. And then another one, I saw the DB5, Shield. We were away.
So, I love this story. It's so cute. Speaking about it all
Crystal, thank you so much for coming this morning. Thank you very much. Do stay with us. Loads more coming your way after the weather.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, and this is your latest GB News forecast from the Met Office. So Monday promises to be a slightly cooler day than Sunday. Dry for most, but plenty of sunshine. There is a little bit in the way of clouds, certainly across the south during the course of this morning. This is actually the legacy of a cold front which sunk south across the whole country during the course of the weekend. But some of the cloud on this front will be thick enough to produce a little bit of light rain and drizzle here and there, but more of a nuisance value. Most places staying dry. But with clear, bright sunshine, temperatures into the afternoon reaching into the high 20s, highs of 27 degrees for London. It's a slightly different story further north with a fair amount of cloud across parts of Scotland. And that will certainly actually help to keep a lid on the temperatures into the afternoon. By the time we get to the evening, we're looking at temperatures into the high teens. But there are some brighter skies in the mix too. Cloudier skies across parts of Northern Ireland. And again, temperatures not too far off the seasonal average. But across England and Wales, with bright, clear sunshine on offer into the evening, temperatures comfortably into the mid-20s. And with clear skies overnight, we are likely to see a few mist and fog patches forming across England and Wales. Cloud does persist across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. And overnight temperatures in Scotland will actually dip low enough, certainly some rural spots, for a touch of grass frost, but staying rather warm across the south with overnight lows in the mid-teens. But it's a bright and sunny start Tuesday morning. And if anything, the cloud across northern parts of the country will gradually lift and brighten up, so turning bright and sunny even here too, and across parts of Northern Ireland. But it's a warm day, another warm day, especially across England and Wales, with highs of 27 or 28 degrees across parts of the south. And these higher temperatures will actually push further north through the day. That's your forecast.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for the thousands of you who are becoming friends of GB News each and every week.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M1 southbound has a report of collision between junctions 6 and 5 in Watford, and the M25 anti-clockwise is affected by a collision between junctions 22 and 21A in St Albans. In Scotland, the M74 northbound has queuing and 3 lanes restricted at junction 2A, Fullerton Road Junction. Across Wales, the A4232 northbound from A48 interchange to M4J33 Capel Llanilton is congested with possible delays. And on the trains, East Midlands railway services have a reduced service, and the Elizabeth line has a reduced service to and from Heathrow terminals. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Welcome to Orlis Santi by Domes Resorts, and there's just 2 weeks left to see how you too could be enjoying the 5-star lifestyle. First, you can bank an incredible £60,000. We'll also give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus 1 standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus 1 standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray. Are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline.
Should we be worried about it? From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos. What we're going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Breaking news this morning, the largest number of small boat migrants ever on a single mega dinghy arrives in Britain.
Yes, 230 illegal immigrants landed on British shores overnight, or at least made it to UK waters, marking a low point in the fight to protect UK borders. In the last hour, the Shadow Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, Alex Burghardt, shared his frustration, said that something urgently needs to be done, obviously, to stop these small boat crossings.
The consequences of Labour's early prison release scheme become clearer as a new investigation finds that the controversial plans could result in nearly 90,000 more crimes being committed. Well, earlier, the Lib Dem MP for North Shropshire, Helen Morgan, shared her party's concerns.
We need to be clear that the most dangerous offenders, as I say, particularly domestic abusers, the killers of police officers in this particular case, they need to be prevented from being released under the early release scheme.
Well, Andy Burnham is back from his holiday, but the problems are piling up. He's going to embark on a listening tour around the country, but today, small boats and early prisoner release causing him some headaches.
Well, on that note, Reform UK is calling for foreign nationals in British prisons to be deported to El Salvador and sent to the country's notorious mega prison. Could this fix our prison crisis? Reform UK's Zia Youssef had this to say.
Under reform, we're going to bring justice back. So, number one, we're going to clear out all of the foreign national offenders very quickly from our jails by, if their home countries won't take them, then we're going to send them to countries like El Salvador or Kosovo. We're going to rent prison spaces there, and that will be our message to countries like Albania.
Ahead of another heat wave, the record is broken for the number of days in a year where temperatures go above 30 degrees Celsius.
Slightly cooler today compared to yesterday, but temperatures on the rise. And how hot is it actually going to get over the next few days? Tune in later to find out.
With Results Week upon us, the new Education Secretary Lucy Powell is vowing to tackle the growing crisis of young people not in education, employment or training. Could the solution be paying teenagers to stay in school?
And our very own Andrew Pearce is preparing to take to the stage at the Edinburgh Fringe today. We'll be speaking to him soon.
Good morning. It's just gone 9 o'clock. I'm Ellie Costello.
And I'm Mark White. This is GB News Breakfast. Well, breaking news within the last few minutes. GB News can confirm that 230 illegal immigrants arrived overnight on a single mega dinghy. Biggest number ever recorded on a single dinghy, smashing the previous record, which was 170 set only a week or so ago.
Well, here in the studio to react with us to this is GB News Chief Political Correspondent Catherine Forster. Very good morning to you, Catherine. What a headache for this government.
Yes, a nightmare. I mean, Andy Burnham's only been Prime Minister a few weeks. The numbers have been down this year, about 40%. But since Andy Burnham has come in, we've had, I think, about 2,500 people now across the channel, just shy of, I think, 1,000 this weekend alone. And the astonishing news, I mean, I did a double take when I was told 230 people on one dinghy. I think the previous record was about 170. It used to be, go back 2 or 3 years, that 80 or 90 was a big number. Now, the government would say they're doing all sorts of things to intercept and crack down on these gangs, but clearly they are still managing to get ever bigger boats. And, you know, yes, the French are stopping many crossings, but these people just try and try and try again until they get across. And, you know, the level of public anger with this is absolutely through the roof.
As some of our audience pointing out, you can no longer really refer to these as dinghies, or big inflatable boats, but 230, again, someone pointing out on your say, that's the capacity of a jumbo, well, not a jumbo jet, but a passenger airliner, 737.
Yeah. It is. And when you think of the difficulty that just going on holiday, when you and I go on holiday past through a European airport and the fingerprint, the difficulty, I'm just back from India and my son had to extend his visa by like a day or two, the difficulty of doing these things properly, and yet you're getting, as you say, a flight load effectively of people getting on a dinghy in France. We're paying France, what, hundreds of millions of pounds. I think there's huge frustration that the French, often we see the videos, don't we, of them standing with their arms folded, watching. Of course, people will be saying, why don't you slash the boats? They have once or twice, we've seen that happen. But of course, French police officers do not want to do anything to put themselves in danger. So there'll be a lobby briefing this morning with the Prime Minister's spokesman. We only get one a week in recess. But this is going to be, I think, top of the agenda, along with, in fact, the early prisoner release. Figures on the front of the Mail today, provided by the Conservative Party, I should say, saying that because of the early prisoner releases that are planned, we could be looking at 89,000 extra crimes by 2029. Worth saying the Ministry of Justice have said those figures are highly speculative and inaccurate. But still, it's the most horrendous look. The government has had to be doing this for a couple of years. My understanding is that the previous Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, had offered to sort of make this announcement while he was still PM to make things a little bit easier for Andy Burnham, but that offer was declined. But a real headache, PC Andrew Harper's family, of course, absolutely livid. We did understand that the government were looking at exempting people from early release if they were guilty of murdering an emergency service worker, but apparently there's too many legal difficulties with that. One alternative is to exempt anybody guilty of manslaughter. That would mean there'd be lots of people exempt, and they just do not have the capacity. I mean, Andy Burnham last week already said he'd been pushed to the limits of what he could do.
Why doesn't this government build Nightingale prisons?
That's a really good question, and I did wonder that. I mean, they are building more prison places, and of course, this is not their fault entirely. This is the fault of many governments, the Conservatives largely, and the coalition government, and going back even further for lack of investment in the prison estate. But we saw it with COVID, didn't we? Yeah. The Nightingale prisons. And I can only assume it's because of the level of security that you need for a prison that is above and beyond anything that you can, you can put up a hospital ward or whatever without all that security. But no, a really good question.
But, and as reforms say, you can put the lower level offenders and female prisoners in pop-up jails with that sort of lower level of security. There's no reason why you can't do that and still have the medium to higher risk individuals in proper prisons.
Yeah. And well, we'll be hearing more from Reform later this morning. They've got a press conference. They are promising to deport all foreign national offenders. They say that's about 10,000. I think actually about a third of those are on remand, so probably maybe about 7,000 or so. And they're saying basically if their country of origin won't take them back, that they will be sending them to Kosovo, where Denmark has done that, sent about 300 people there, or El Salvador. That's something that Nigel Farage said a couple of years ago was a bit extreme, but sounds like they're considering.
OK. Catherine, thank you very much.
Yeah, well, Albanians alone, 1,200 of them in our prisons. The last time I looked, Albania wasn't a war zone. In fact, lots of Brits go there on holiday.
Yeah, quite nice beaches in Albania. Anyway, talking about beaches, you might be able to go on a nice holiday with 60 grand in tax-free cash and a real gold bar. It's all up for grabs in our latest Great British Giveaway. Here are all of the details that you need.
Welcome to the Yellow Sea restaurant at Orla Santi Domes Resort. We've been enjoying a golden summer and you could be celebrating a golden win. Cheers. There's 2 fantastic prizes to be won. First, an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash that you can spend on anything you like. Treat yourself to the ultimate in 5-star luxury, or save that cash for a rainy day. Plus, if that wasn't enough, we'll also give you a fine gold bullion bar worth over £5,000.
It's a total prize value of over £65,000.
Just make sure you don't miss out, as lines will close on the 21st of August.
There's one guaranteed winner, and that could be you. So get your entry in, and best of luck.
For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck. Now, the Education Secretary, Lucy Powell, has vowed to tackle the NEETs crisis, as more than 50,000 teenagers are not going to receive results this week.
The term NEETs refers to the growing number of young people who are not in education, employment or training.
Well, the SNP has offered their view on the crisis, suggesting that the government pays teenagers to stay in school or further training. Well, let's get some reaction to all of this with Director of Policy and Research at Youth Unemployment UK, Baz Ramaya, who joins us now. Very good to see you this morning, Baz. Let's start first with this NEETs crisis when it comes to results week. What is going on when we have 58,000 18-year-olds in England not receiving results this week because they have dropped out of school? What's happening here?
Well, we should remember that at least some of this figure will be young people who are doing apprenticeships, and apprentices wouldn't be receiving results on results day. Their assessment process is somewhat different. But nonetheless, we should certainly be concerned about the number of young people who are not participating in education, employment or training between the age of 16 and 18. You know, these are young people who often face a lot of real challenges to participating in education. You know, 2 in 5 young people have a probable mental health disorder. Mental health is often a barrier. In our Youth Voice census, the largest survey of young people in the country, 1 in 4 young people have told us that public transport is unaffordable for them, so they can't even physically get to their site for education. And of course, lots of young people, because of our ailing healthcare system, often have caring responsibilities for family members who might be unwell. So there are lots of barriers for young people to be accessing education, which are therefore creating barriers to them getting into employment later on. And any solution to this needs to look at removing those barriers so those young people can get into the labour market successfully.
Those barriers then, how do we get people into work, young people into work?
So I think it's important to remember that each individual young person who may not be able to access work will have a lot of different complexities in their life and a lot of overlapping challenges. The key thing here is to make sure that, as is kind of happening with the kind of focus on devolution at the moment, is that local authorities, combined authorities, have the power and the resources to be able to look at what the specific barriers are in their local area, develop a strategic approach, and have the resources to act on it. So that might involve improving public transport in an area. That might investing in creating more training, apprenticeship and employment opportunities for young people. This is actually really key because the age group where young people are most likely to be near when they're a young person is between the age of 22 and 24. So quite often this is because there are just not enough job opportunities in their local area. The recent Melbourne review has shown that the number of low and medium skilled job opportunities has decreased by 1.6 million since the year 2000. So there are just fewer jobs in lots of cases. So increasing the number of job opportunities, increasing the ease with which young people can access those through things like public transport, through better mental health support, and ensuring that young people, while they are in education, benefit from a really strong entitlement that gives them access to work experience, extracurricular activities, and also a flexible wide range of qualifications. This is how we really break the back of this crisis.
There are many people, of course, in education who, for them, staying in education is probably not the best option going forward. Rather than giving £30 or so to keep these people in education, wouldn't that money be better funnelled towards lower paid apprenticeships, just to incentivise them to get into the workplace environment?
So one of the difficulties with paying apprentices less money than they are paid at the moment on the apprenticeship minimum wage is that makes it much harder for young people who are from more disadvantaged and poorer backgrounds to participate in apprenticeships, because they're going to be paid less. They often need a good amount of money because they've not got any money coming from anywhere else. And there is also something important here about how having key qualifications, such as maths or English GCSE, does have a really big impact on young people's future pathways, including their lifelong earnings. So the solution here is not to push young people out of education, it's to make sure they have a wide and flexible range of qualifications that they can pursue, all of which can lead to a good job at the end of it.
Really good to see you this morning. Thank you very much for joining us on GB News Breakfast.
Thank you, Baz. Still to come in the programme, Andrew Pearce is at the Edinburgh Fringe today. Find out what he'll be talking about next. This is GB.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Gates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Bold. They are under no illusion. Ray, are you a human trafficker? Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get this on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
I'm going to do now, they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it?
No,
because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question. Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way.
You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Welcome back to Breakfast. It's 18 minutes past 9. Now, British engineering giant JCB's bid to set a world hydrogen land speed record is surging ahead in Utah, isn't it?
Yeah, the company unveiled its aim to set the record with its JCB Hydromax car.
Well, Ben Leo, our GB News chief US correspondent, had the time of his life, didn't he? And he sent this report from Utah.
Welcome to one of the flattest places on Earth. GB News is here at the Bonneville Salt Plains in the great state of Utah in America to witness British engineering history. Later today, JCB is bidding to break the hydrogen-powered land speed record in a car of their own making for the first time in nearly 20 years. And behind the wheel is the fastest man on Earth, Wing Commander Andy Green, the RAF officer who is the only person ever to break the sound barrier on land.
I've been lucky enough not only to have the world's best day job flying jet fighters for the Royal Air Force, but also the world's best holiday job driving high-speed straight-line racing cars. 1997, I was the driver with the Thrust Supersonic car team, which did what it said on the tin. We got the car supersonic, 763 miles an hour. Diesel is coming to an end. Environmentally, we are looking at a new solution, and JCB have looked over the last few years to develop a car which is going to be zero emissions and usable around the world, remote sites, building sites. So they have converted their internal combustion engine to run on hydrogen, and this year we are taking the JCB Hydromax, now 2 JCB Digger hydrogen-powered engines, back to Bonneville to do faster than before. We're going to go over 350 miles an hour.
JCB has been on the Bonneville Salt Plains here in Utah all last week testing their hydrogen-powered car, and they clocked a record speed of 368 miles per hour. However, it won't count unless it's performed in front of FIA motorsport officials, which is what they're hoping to do later today. 30,000 acres, 12 miles long, 5 miles wide of pure salt. You can grab it in your hand. A lot of it's quite hard, but it's not used to throw on your fish and chips back home. They do extract it commercially, but for fertiliser. They call it potash, potassium chloride. Lake Bonneville disappeared around 14,000 years ago. It was around 1,000 feet deep at the time. As I said, it's prehistoric, but if it existed today, it would be far grander, far bigger than present-day Lake Michigan. The truth is, I can hardly keep my eyes open, such is the intense reflection of the sun on the vast white salt plains here in Utah, but I'll certainly need to have them open later on when JCB come down in their first bid to perform British engineering history around 5 p.m. UK time, conditions permitting. I'll be here, GB News will be here to bring you live updates of their record attempt, and I have to say, I am so excited to bring you what could be the next British land speed record in a hydrogen-powered car.
Yeah, Ben Leo will bring that to us on GB News.
OK, we're going to Andrew Pearce now at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. He's going to be starring there. Andrew, good morning to you. What are you going to be talking about?
When I first came here well, listen, 25, 26 years ago when I came here, Edinburgh Festival was a pretty big event. It is now the biggest fringe festival in the world. 3,600 acts ranging from a full Palestinian circus. I can't wait to see the Tom Cruise Fat Club. What do you think that's all about? Comedy, dance, theatre, and you can't move for politicians. I hear a rumour Andy Burnham may be here later in the week, and I saw across a crowded room yesterday Nicola Sturgeon. Remember her? She used to be the most powerful woman in Scotland. Do you know, Mark, she didn't rush across the room to warmly embrace me. I can't think why.
I know that you're making a guest and star appearance in. Tell us all about that.
I am actually. Later on, I'm speaking on the Fringe. I'm talking about my book, Finding Margaret, about finding my birth mother. I'm on the same panel with Sarah Vine, who you know, many people on GB News will know, Daily Mail columnist, who's written a book about how not to be a politician's wife. So that will be fascinating. This place is teeming with people. There are literally hundreds of thousands of people crammed into this wonderful city. It's my favourite part of Scotland. And look, a revelation for Scotland. The sun is shining. How amazing is that? The heat wave has even gone north of the border and has arrived in Edinburgh. So it's going to be a great few days here. And we're delighted to be here.
I don't believe it. Must be AI. I think.
Andrew, good luck. Wishing you the very best of luck. You'll smash it.
Thank you.
Well, two people, definitely not AI, Miriam and Cameron. What's coming up in your show?
Not yet. One day.
Definitely. Well, we're going to be talking about Reform UK's plans to deport foreign prisoners to certain countries, including El Salvador. Big human rights issues there. Is he going to push it through by getting rid of the ECHR and the UN Convention on Human Rights?
And Andy Burnham's progress around the country. Henry VIII used to do that, didn't he, during the summer? Maybe he's thinking of a royal tour. But is he going to be able to reduce cost of living? That seems to be what he wants to do.
And of course, bringing the very latest on the story that you broke in breakfast, 230 migrants on a single mega dinghy. What's become of the UK? All of that coming up on Britain's Newsroom with myself and Miriam.
But first of all, your weather.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Good morning, and this is your latest GB News forecast from the Met Office. So Monday promises to be a slightly cooler day than Sunday. Dry for most, but plenty of sunshine. There is a little bit in the way of clouds, certainly across the south during the course of this morning. This is actually the legacy of a cold front which sunk south across the whole country during the course of the weekend. But some of the cloud on this front will be thick enough to produce a little bit of light rain and drizzle here and there, but more of a nuisance value. Most places staying dry. But with clear, bright sunshine, temperatures into the afternoon reaching into the high 20s, highs of 27 degrees for London. It's a slightly different story further north with a fair amount of cloud across parts of Scotland. And that will certainly actually help to keep a lid on the temperatures into the afternoon. By the time we get to the evening, we're looking at temperatures into the high teens. But there are some brighter skies in the mix too. Cloudier skies across parts of Northern Ireland. And again, temperatures not too far off the seasonal average. But across England and Wales, with bright, clear sunshine on offer into the evening, temperatures comfortably into the mid-20s. And with clear skies overnight, we are likely to see a few mist and fog patches forming across England and Wales. Cloud does persist across parts of Northern Ireland and Scotland. And overnight temperatures in Scotland will actually dip low enough, certainly some rural spots, for a touch of grass frost, but staying rather warm across the south with overnight lows in the mid-teens. But it's a bright and sunny start Tuesday morning. And if anything, the cloud across northern parts of the country will gradually lift and brighten up, so turning bright and sunny even here too, and across parts of Northern Ireland. But it's a warm day, another warm day, especially across England and Wales, with highs of 27 or 28 degrees across parts of the south. And these higher temperatures will actually push further north through the day. That's your forecast.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boiler sponsors the weather on GB News.
Thank you, Britain, for making GB News Radio such a huge success. Whether you're in the car, on the go, or listening at home, thank you for choosing us as your radio station.
Good morning. This is the latest AI travel news from gbnews.com. The M27 westbound is closed at Junction 2 in Romsey after a fire. The M25 anti-clockwise has a report of collision between Junctions 3 and 2 in Darenth. In Scotland, the A90 is restricted in both directions after Ellon, between Ellon and Toll of Burness. Across Wales, the A4232 northbound from A48 interchange to M4J33 Capel Lanhill turn is congested with possible delays. And on the trains, East Midlands Railway services have a reduced service, and the Elizabeth line has a reduced service to and from Heathrow terminals. For more travel news, go to gbnews.com.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Costello. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Okoye, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter? So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing